Intelligence. We don't have to be poor. If we're informed that Cholope, or a great citizen, want to take his life, we will get there and make sure that Cholope, that Liberian citizen, do not take the life of that Liberian citizen. It is our mandate. That's what we're paid for. We operate on intelligence.
Nigeria, I'm Alfonso Zayasot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Who are welcome our viewers to this program. Tonight's program going to be in two segments. The first going to be in an exclusive with the president of the New Liberian Association, General Association in the USA, Mr. Kennedy, is here backstage. I'm going to be breaking him. Welcome to the show. Let's get a ball rolling here. Good evening, good morning to Liberia, to our viewers and listeners across the globe. We say thank you so much tonight. Is a huge one here. Tonight's program going to be in two segments. In the first edition here, I'm going to be having an exclusive conversation with the president of the Association of Liberian Journalists based here in the USA, Mr. Joseph Kennedy. He's going to be here. He's here already backstage. He's going to be joining me here this evening. The prospect of the association, and of course, down the road, we're going to transition to all that is happening inside Liberia, democracy and attack, the first branch of government. How we got to this point, everything right here this evening, all things considered, and of course, by 9 p.m. the analysts will be here to scramble on all that is happening. We want to welcome you. I am Alfonso Zian, so we're going to have a conversation here this evening, and I'm quite sure some of you will be uncomfortable because this is something we were talking to, we're making suggestions how to avoid this, and people did not listen to us, and here we are today. With that said, let me bring in my guest. Mr. Kennedy is right here, all ready to let's have a conversation. There we go. There you have it. Mr. Joey Joseph Kennedy is the president of the Association of Liberian Journalists based here in the USA, professional institution, organization, if you will. They speak out on things, good or bad. So we're going to get to that. But Mr. President, it's a privilege, an honor to have you here. Thank you for honoring our invitation here. I'm not sure what is the right time considering all that is going on here. But quickly here, let me give you the opportunity to introduce you to my audience. Good to have you first time appearing on LPR.
Thank you so much, Mr. So, for giving me the opportunity to appear on your show tonight. Like you said, this is my very first time appearing on your platform, and I hope that we're going to have more opportunities in the future to appear and they discuss issues pertaining to our own association, the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA, and also issues that are pertinent to the growth and development of our dear country, Liberia. As you just rightly said, my name is Joey Kennedy. I'm actually Joseph Kennedy, but I'm popularly known by the nickname Joey Kennedy. I am the president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, also known as ALJA. I've been in leadership positions since last year. So I was elected as Secretary General in our last convention, in our convention before the last one in Minnesota as Secretary General, and Pigui Besa and Kadiatu Buheri were elected president and vice president, respectively. But they were offered the opportunity to work and contribute to the new government in Liberia. So they accepted positions in the government in Liberia as Deputy Minister for Cultural Affairs and Tourism and Deputy Executive Director for Press and Public Affairs at the National Port Authority, respectively. So this year at our just ended convention, I was elected by the membership of the association to steer the affairs of the, as president of the organization, to complete the unexpired term of Mr. Besa. So this is how come I was elected president. So that is for a period of 1 year. So our next convention is coming up in October next year, and we're going to have an election for a new term, which is essentially for 2 years. But right now, I was elected president just to complete the 1 year unexpired term of Mr. Pugh Besa. So again, it's a pleasure being here, and I look forward to continuing some discussions with you.
Okay, so basically here you are continuing the process. Somebody started more or less. You're going to be pushing the agenda. We'll get to know whether there is interest by now. I'm not sure what I should say, interim president or transitional, whatever, which of course we used to in our Liberian way. We've been having a lot of transitions in the country here. So having someone to continue here who is going to serve the country, that's awesome. But again, thank you so much for being here. Let's set the stage here. ALJA. What is the status now of ALJA, even though you're serving as interim president to end the term of the former president? But how is ALJA, by the way?
Well, just before I answer the question, I am not interim president. I am president because
okay.
There was a by-election conducted to fill the vacancy. Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay,
I am president, even though it's for just a period of 1 year. But
okay.
Agile itself is healthy. It is very vibrant. We are very functional, as you may be aware, as an organization which was established in 1998 by former veteran Liberian journalists who moved to the United States and saw the need to establish an organization that will ensure that they work for the furtherance and safeguarding of our democracy, of press freedom and freedom of speech in our country, Liberia, and also to promote the rule of law, civil liberties, and the integrity of the three branches of the Liberian government, and to ensure that we collaborate with the Press Union of Liberia and other media and our fellow media practitioners in our country to ensure that we continue to enhance and foster democratic governance in our country, Liberia. So we've been effectively involved in that process. We've been collaborating with media institutions in our country. We've been collaborating with the President of Liberia, and even during the heat of the crisis in the President of Liberia, ALJA was very instrumental in the mediary role that led to at least some sort of arrangement that effectively led to the conduct of an election in the President of Liberia, even though there are still some issues there. But we've been collaborating effectively with the President of Liberia and other media stakeholders in our country. ALJA has, over the years, been providing training for media institutions and practitioners in Liberia. Just about a year or two ago, we conducted a 3-day, I believe, collaboratively with the Federal Association of Female Journalists in Liberia, FIJA,
Yeah.
a few days of training for female journalists from all across Liberia. And after the conduct of the training, we were able to provide for them some logistical support. We were able to supply tape recorders, macro recorders, and computers to the participants in that workshop, to enhance their activities at their various media outlets. Besides that, we've also been involved with distributing tape recorders and computers as a mode of helping to build the capacity of media institutions. As you know, the media in Liberia is struggling very, very, very tough, to exist and survive in an economy that is, in such a current state is a very difficult thing for the media. So as an association in the United States, at least whose members are to a certain extent, well off economically, we felt that it's important for us to always harness the necessary resources to help our colleagues in Liberia. So ALJA a few years ago launched what is referred to as the Media Fund Drive. And it is the Media Fund Drive that on an annual basis during our national convention that's held in October each year generates revenue through the fund drive from members of the association, our partners, and other stakeholders. And that resources, those resources and fundings are then used to provide such supports like buying equipment like computers and macro tape recorders and also providing training opportunities for our colleagues in Liberia. Here in the United States, we also collaborate with other organizations, partner with other Liberian and non-Liberian organizations, both civic and religious organizations, just to ensure that ALJA has visibility. So one of such organizations, for example, is the University of Minnesota. We have been partnering with the University of Minnesota over the years, and they've been very effective in also providing training for both members of ALJA and our colleagues who come from Liberia on an annual basis to attend our convention. We were able to collaborate with their mass communication department, and we're able to, on a few occasions, conduct training and capacity building opportunities for our colleagues. So yes, ALJA is very vibrant. It's moving forward, and we hope that as we move ahead, we'll continue to improve and increase the level of support we continue to provide for our colleagues back home in Liberia.
Okay, that's good. So basically, from what I'm hearing, and I know we are being into this whole thing, President Mary to Sandy, to Mason, Vesa, and now you here. So basically, from what I'm hearing, the presence of ALJA with respect to the media industry in Liberia is pretty well on course, correct? Is that a situation?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's certainly on course. Look, so every year, whenever we hold our convention in October, we ensure that we send out invites to media practitioners in the country, and we always have representations. So just at our just recently concluded convention, which was held in the city of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, we had a couple of journalists that came in, participated in that convention. We had Charles Yates was there. Some who are also in public relations. So both journalists and those in public relations were invited. But we can only do that much. So we were able to send about 20 invitations to Liberia for journalists. But unfortunately, a lot of them were denied, because we can send invitation, but there's no guarantee that you're going to have visa, So, the U.S. Embassy has its own standards. But all in all, the embassy has really been collaboratively working with us, and they've provided visas to a couple of our colleagues who attend our convention on an annual basis.
Talking about standard, what can ALJA? I remember I was the last Minnesota convention, Lena Dodu, formerly of the front page, now with investigators and there are other folks talking. What can ALJA go beyond the borderline to establish a sort of a relationship with the embassy? Because U.S. believe in freedom of speech, the press, and all of that. That will enhance the capacity of our people, and not just only here, but other big media institution here too, so as to cement and kind of add more weight to the sort of annual traditional events of ALJA. Is that something perhaps will be considered down the road?
Yeah, so we've been doing that. We've been collaborating with media institutions both here in the United States and even with the U.S. Embassy in Liberia. So if it had not been for the collaboration, the level of collaboration we have with the U.S. Embassy, ultimately they would not be honoring our invitation that are sent to our colleagues back home in Liberia. So the fact that they do that, is a clear manifestation of the level of collaboration that we've garnered over the years with the Embassy of the United States in Liberia. Also, we have also over the years created partnership with other media institutions here in the United States. So like the Minnesota Public Radio, the NPR, and a couple of other media institutions here. I recall last year when the convention was here in Minnesota, we had the opportunity to tour and hold discussions, to tour those media institutions, and also to hold discussions with the management of those institutions. And in that discussion, we discuss mode by which we can flourish relationship with them, through which we can garner support for our media institutions back home in Liberia. We've not concluded that yet. So this is a thing.
Mr. President, not to interrupt, was there a specific request to this? Because you might have had an agenda, or the association, look, this is what we want, having a conversation. It's okay, it's a greater portion of it, but there must be a specific request. Was there a specific request, and if so, what was it?
So there were not specific requests, but we just underscored and explained to them some of the areas where assistance would be needed, like in capacity building, and both human and material capacity building of our media institutions in Liberia. Those were the areas around which our discussions were held. And so what we need to do now as a new leadership is to make specific requests to these institutions, because I believe they have the capacity to provide, equipment and also training opportunities for our colleagues back home. So that can either be done with some of our colleagues coming here, going there to do, for study tour or for some training, as well as the provision of equipment for the building of the capacity of media institutions in our country. So that's something that we decide to, as a new leadership, work on down the road, and hopefully we'll be able to improve on the relationship and get some very genuine and cogent support for our colleagues back home as a means of building the capacity of the media in Liberia.
How is ALJA actually dealing with this sort of proliferations of media institutions? Have been there, gone to a lot of the press conferences at Mika, and for sure, the young folks back there, the passion is there, but they do not have the resources. They work for institutions that can't even also afford to sustain itself. And that in itself puts the profession at risk. And this is why we see all of this happening. The media should be an advocacy sort of group, not for, not against, not a resistant movement, but to just talk those issues so that people will be able to make informed decisions. But again, we are in a society that is heavily involved now, so it's very much difficult to say this is the kind of line we're going to move through. How is ALJA to sort of navigate through this sort of different institutions that are working, some like private and all of that? How you guys go? How is ALJA handling this situation?
I think what we're doing is to continue to provide, like I said, support and training, for those, because I know exactly the point from which you speak. There's a serious capacity gap, in the profession in our country. There's a lot of young Liberians who are journalists in the country who have some challenges. So what we as an organization can do is to, and have always been doing, is to continue to provide, training, continuous training and enlightenment to them, because that's the only way, their skills and capacity can be improved. So effectively, that's what we've been doing, and we'll continue to do that, as a means of ensuring that their capacity is improved in a way that they'll be able to be functional and effective in the mode by which they go about in the execution of their responsibility as media practitioners.
So let's look at media and government's relationship. And I've been very fortunate always within the proximity of leadership. Now we're hearing from our president is within the system. We have our own man, Solo Kebe was presidential press secretary. Now our man Jeremy PR is now the Minister of Information. With this here, how difficult it becomes, because when people are outside of the barrier, they become critical, and we saw how some of them, they were very vocal, they were using some very strange languages, which is a different thing, but politics factor in. Yeah, they are on the other side. What is the coordination with them coming from the mother organizations, ALJA, into to government? And is there any disconnect in terms of their tones, language? Because more or less they speak for the government.
Of course, I mean you certainly will know that. I mean, obviously, when you work in public relations, there are specific things that you're required to do. So if you were in a leadership in ALJA, there's particular responsibility that is enshrined in the Constitution that leaders of the organization are supposed to adhere to. So once you leave it, ultimately, and go into public relations and to become a government spokesperson, ultimately your tune will change. We don't expect you to be as objective as you used to be, when you were with ALJA. But as an association, as an organization, as a leadership, we will continue to uphold the principles and the values of our organization, ALJA, because we are required to speak against ills in our society in Liberia, to ensure that the rule of law is upheld, good governance, and the basic tenets of democracy are upheld in Liberia. And sometimes in our mode of saying these things, and sometimes it may not be favorable to even some of our colleagues who are here and are now in public relations, but that's our job. We cannot continue to remain reticent and taciturn on events unfolding in our country. We have to speak out and ensure that we hold the feet of the government to the fire, so that they will be able to deliver on some of those promises that were made, and to put into place programs and projects that will help improve the lives and livelihoods of the people, and also to fight other vices like corruption and other bad governance practices in our government. So yes, as people leave, their tone changed, but the tone of ALJA as an institution remains the same. Our values remain the same, and it will not change under any circumstances.
So then let me just push further here. What becomes of their membership status with ALJA? Because at this point in time, they are in a different world, of course. They have to do what they should be doing, so whatever it is, which is okay as well. What becomes of their membership status with ALJA?
So the Constitution of ALJA states that the membership of ALJA comprises journalists or former Liberian journalists who reside in the Americas. So if you leave from the Americas and travel to Liberia and take residency there in Liberia, ultimately you're now a full-fledged member of ALJA as you used to be, because you no more reside in the United States. You are no more active in our activities. And so you are not considered a full member, based on the provisions of the Constitution. However, you can be invited, to our convention if you have the capacity and want to come. We can send you invitation. You can come. And if you decide to return to the United States and anywhere in the Americas to live, then the membership of the organization can be revived. But as it is, based on constitutional provision, you cannot be a full member of ALJA if you take residency outside of the United States or outside of the Americas.
So how difficult it is, someone's listening to us. You have people yesterday that there were strong voices, they were advocate fronts on bad governance, bad policies within government, fronts on corruption. They were a talking head and all of that in the name of ALJA. And here come the next day, they become ministers, they become directors and all of that. How difficult ALJA is finding this with ordinary Liberians? Because, wait a minute, this guy, he or she was telling us this thing here, but more or less it's been done for political purposes. Does that dent the character of the institution with respect to who she is and her functions and as well? Is there anything that can be done with that to have an exemption, not to deny people from working from their country, but I think there seems to be sort of a little bit dicey here in terms of the independence of these people?
Well, again, it's a very critical and a very difficult line to thread, because as humans we all have the right to affiliate with what other organization or institution we so desire to affiliate with. We have the right to leave, whenever we desire, and everybody's looking for opportunities. So if you are a member or an official of ALJA and you have an opportunity that you think is able to help to improve your life and livelihood, ultimately we as an institution cannot stop you. But you cannot be an official of ALJA. You cannot hold the capacity of an official of ALJA while at the same time holding any position outside of the realm of ALJA, especially in government, because we know that by doing so, you're going to compromise the values and aspirations and mission of our organization. So if you want if you are a leader here, like Pee-wee Besa did, Pee-wee and Kadi did, if you're a leader of ALJA and you have an opportunity in Liberia, all you have to do is just tender in your resignation to the board of directors of the organization, and telling them that you have an opportunity back home in Liberia, you're going to contribute, and so you are leaving the leadership of ALJA, and then we're going to immediately fill in a gap, just as was done in this case. Because when Pee-wee and Kadi were elected as president and vice president respectively, I think they only served for, let's say, about 6 months, and they had the opportunity. So they tendered in the resignation. The board of directors appointed, in consonance with the membership, appointed me to act as officer in charge of the association. I think that took effect from early this year up until October. So I was officer in charge of the organization, working collaboratively with the board of directors, doing the exact things that are required by the Constitution, up to the time we held the convention in Philadelphia, during which I was elected president. So all you have to do is say, look, I have an opportunity and I'm leaving, I'm going to Liberia. For example, me, in the event that in the future, even though I do not have any immediate plans to go to Liberia now, because I do not wish to move or to transition to Liberia at this time. But in the future, if I decide to do so, I will just plan and be able to inform the membership of the organization that I'm going to be transitioning, and that I'm not going to be here. So ultimately, I would not be a member of ALJA, and by extension, I cannot be in a leadership position of the organization. But that is not a decision I'm going to make now, because I have some very young kids, and I've just been in the States for about 8 years. I worked for multiple years in Liberia as director of communication at Ablaze, and then also director of communications at the Elections Commission. And I just came here in 2016. So I'm not in a rush to go back to Liberia now. I'm still trying to develop and to harness all of the experience and the education that I need to harness to be able to fortify myself, effectively here. So I do not have any immediate plans to transition to Liberia now, not even in the next 5 years, So I feel, very pleased to continue to work for ALJA.
So but what we are talking about now is for the survival and credibility of the institutions, because it becomes a little bit confusing to the ordinary Liberians, ordinary people who relies on these professional institutions to have a clear-cut position. Perhaps maybe down the road, ALJA could develop something, especially during the electoral process. Look, give room ahead. If you know you want to side with a political institution, which is okay, you need to wash your hands. You cannot be in two places at the same time. You can't have a white flag on the other side, and then you get a bazooka on the other end. You bite, you slam people, you use all sort of language, but you are under the umbrella of ALJA. That puts a dent on the character of the institutions, and everybody seems to be put in that sort of basket. Oh, the ALJA people, the national people, all more like a EULA. Has the time come now to have that sort of painful conversation?
Yes, so we've been having so in the wake of the most recent development regarding our leaders that I was referencing, those conversations were held. So if you know that you have some ambition, of leaving to go, because those were questions that I was asked when I was contesting, in Philadelphia recently. The electors asked me whether I have any intention of transitioning to Liberia anytime soon, because their fear was to avoid a recurrence of what happened, with the previous leadership. So that's a conversation that we've been having and that we continue to have. So perhaps what we need to do, because we are working on the reform of our constitution in our ensuing national convention, those are things that we're going to be working on and including in our constitution, so that it can be binding on every member of the organization. However, individual members of ALJA cannot be stopped from having political affiliations. I
think it will be fair to say it's executive board members and all of that, because they make consequential decisions. They tend to give releases on behalf of the institution. I believe those sort of consultation can be held before administration come out. So they are part and of it. But okay,
absolutely. And let me just tell you, look, it will fascinate you to know that immediately after my election. And I'm going to keep the name of the person I'm not going to disclose the name, but I was contacted.
Mr. President, we don't have. This is not a society bullshit. LPR here, we just enter or not necessarily to appease people what they want to hear. We tell people what they need to know, and this is why sometimes people find it difficult to come here. So we don't have no secret here.
for the sake of confidentiality and for respect of the
Oh,
I will not disclose the name, but I was just saying that they tried to offer me a job in Liberia, and I started to tell the members.
where wanted you to go?
Sorry,
Where they wanted you to go?
they were asking me to find an position of my choice in the government and where I can be, and they're gonna make sure that I get it. And I told them, look, I do not have any immediate intention to go to Liberia, and besides that, I've just been elected of ALJA.
That's quite interesting to ask you any positions of your choice. Well, so you were financial to this to the ruling party. Was that the case or what?
Not really. No, I've not been linked with with any political party in Liberia. Or through the years, I haven't been linked with any political party. But I'm just telling you some of the temptation that come with it, because sometimes you don't understand what the motives are. So is it an intended, is it a deliberate decision or attempt to try to pull down the organization and to dismantle it and to cause it to disintegrate by always, providing opportunities for officials of the organization, in Liberia. So that's something I was, and when I discussed it with some of my, colleagues and former leaders, they were astounded, But I just clearly stated that, look, I do not have any intention, just as I've told you.
Call me. Yeah, I'll say I want to go to MPA.
No, I don't. No, I don't have. Look, I have a career. I have a career here in the United States that, if I decide to take a position like that, I can go for anything, even bigger than what is at the MPA, because I'm a financial crimes expert. I do money laundering investigation and white investigation. So
yeah, we'll quickly transition. I hope, let me ask you quickly, because my analyst will be joining me a little after 9 here to talk on some of these issues. If you want to hang out, that's okay, but I know you have a lot of things. And hopefully, like you said, there should be we need to have something like an ALJA hour or something here, because if people don't tell their own story, it's hard for us to go out there. Will you be seeking election to serve for your own term?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I definitely will. In the ensuing election, I definitely will, because I feel that it's time to step up and continue to work for the organization. And ALJA is an organization that I like. So I am definitely going to be seeking re-election, in the ensuing elections. And if the membership elect me, ultimately, I will be more than happy to serve.
Okay, let's transition. Hopefully, this is going to be a continuing process now and then to make sure what is happening right on our own feet. As we critique national governments, other institutions, we ourselves will also be held accountable. So we are about to change the gear now, and let's go on some of the burning issues that is taking place inside Liberia. I'm not sure how we got here, but finding your background as well here, let's have a little conversation here. Let's start with this whole speakership saga at the first branch of government, and seeing all that is unfolding. And for the very first time, to see what has happened to the first branch of government, which is supposed to be the House of Wisdom. And here we are today, seeing what is unfolding. What is ALJA position? I know I've got a press statement here, not to be like a reader here. But what is ALJA's own position with this here for the benefit of the listening audience?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's the situation unfolding in our country is very unfortunate, and we have never I've never thought that there will be a day where our Capitol building, which is the fulcrum of our democracy in Liberia, will be burning as it was done this morning, where the rotunda was burned. I mean, from what I'm hearing, to ashes this morning. I mean, at least internally, that's a very unfortunate situation. And again, as an investigator, I always like to, in investigation of any kind, we are always required to approach any investigative activity with what is referred to as professional skepticism. So I do not want to be ALJA cannot be quick to come up with a determination as to what happened. There are a lot of conspiracies. I understand also the genuineness of the sentiment surrounding the burning or the burning of the Capitol building, but we cannot say it is arson or it is not arson until an investigation is conducted. So our thought as an organization is for the government to institute an impartial and immediate investigation into the fire at the Capitol building to establish the cause of the fire. Because just about a few days ago, I think it's about a week or thereabout ago, there were fire incident at the Capitol building. And we don't know what caused that fire incident at the Capitol building. Even though it was quenched, it was not as massive and as intensive as this one was. But we needed to know what happened. Did they investigate that initial fire incident? What was the result of the investigation? Was it a result of electric shock or some problem with the lines? Or was it arson? So we've not gotten the report from that initial fire, and then this morning we see that the entire Capitol building is ablaze. So we're calling on the government to institute an immediate. And I heard the president say that this morning that they're going to conduct, and I think they should conduct a thorough forensic investigation to determine the cause of the fire. And if it is determined that it was a result of arson, perpetrators of such arson should face the full weight of the law.
So that was kind of a little convoluted and confusing thing here, and it's good to also have that background, because I listened to the IG, the police commissioner. It was kind of a little bit moving here and there with that, and it was just sort of prompt one to declare that as if it is already established, when it was still an active crime, saying, and nothing much, they have not come up but to have taken it to that level, it suggests to me what really is going on. Do they know what is happening now and they try to keep or will we ever know these things here? This is not the first time. We saw to what happened to Tomofala Fanatic Kofa House. What are those, the burning? What are those reports in many other places? What are those reports all? Because this is the first branch of government at this point in time will be prioritized. Will we ever know exactly what happens? I know the first incident, there were a lot of conversation. I haven't seen the report. There was nothing, but it was attributed to electrical. So has that issue been resolved? We don't know. Whether, because I listened to a gentleman who was on to one local radio station, how he got there this morning, that his version, but we're waiting to see government side of the version here. But will we ever get to know this one?
We should, and we will require the government to ensure the conduct of a thorough forensic investigation to establish the cause of the fire. And it is my hope that as of this morning, that the entire Capitol building is cordoned, is secure. That entire place is secure as a scene for investigation. And I'm saying this because you do not want to have people going in there and taking photographs and stepping on some of those things, because those sort of actions have the proclivity to contaminate the scene of the incident. So in the event that forensic investigators go in there, you will find footprints and biological imprints of individuals who have gone in there to take photographs and so on and so forth. So I hope as a first step that whole place has been secured away from the public, and that whoever is going there is fully attired in a way that they will not be able to contaminate any of those things that could be used by forensic investigators in the process of investigating the incident. Because I know that no matter what kind of fire it is, scientifically, the cause of it can be determined. It can be investigated and it can be determined. If it is electrical short circuit that led to the inferno at the Capitol building, it will be established. If it is arson perpetrated by somebody, it will be
But
established.
the IG already pointed out, he already said it is arson. So that makes it difficult. But here, what I wanted to,
But that's unprofessional. That was wrong on the part of the.
I really found it difficult because a couple of days ago, the government of Liberia, the IG, we were told that the capital was sealed up. Now, if the capital is sealed, you have police officer, you have law enforcer there. The reason they sealed that place was to prevent things because of prior incident. Now, for he to come back to tell us now the actual happening and putting up a reward, okay, they can do that. But I thought perhaps the commander assigned at that. It reminded me what I was saying Sierra Leone. Okay, let me just take you back a little bit. I remember we're in the refugee camp, and it was a very funny thing. So they have this here security forces called SSD. Anybody that were in Camp Waterloo, they know that Eugene Fagon, Casaprico, we all were there. They know that. They brought our rations the next day to do ration distribution. I mean, the tank almost like over 200-300, hell of a big, huge tank, because Waterloo is an old military base that the British were using. So it was a big open field. We saw those guys bringing that ration in the evening, refugee then. Next day, you're going to get a smokey, you're going to get your beans, you're going to get this, that. Before 7 o'clock in the morning, the entire warehouse was empty. Even though you have the warehouse, you have the security tank right in front of you, another one behind, the place is electrified and everything. But the commander there at the time, I remember very well, they call him Bangura. When UNHCR came to Chanda, who was the protection officer, he came to us, he said, I didn't get looking, I not get eyeball behind. So you security make you just say that you're looking straight. Whatever happens behind you, you didn't get no eye to see it. And that was UNHCR was forced to bring in the emergency ration. What I'm saying here,
that's interesting.
They have law enforcers assigned there, sealed up because of certain incident things that happened, or protection and all of that. It's kind of confusing here. I know we government do all sort of things. We know how government sometimes they do their things. We don't know yet, but they need to come clear with this whole thing. They didn't hear the IG saying that officers should one or two officers on a suspension, or even the commander, because it is your responsibility. The law enforcers are there to make sure whether somebody was sleeping on duty and another person came and went in. We have not heard anything of such. How this happens, especially if you use that word, then it means there's an intruder, most likely that have committed such a heinous, terrible crime, which is almost act of terrorism. That is concerning. And you talk about investigations, it's inconclusive, but you already put in label on it that this is what happened. You're calling on other people that you want to talk to. So what becomes of the law enforcers? People that you assign there should make sure that that building is safe. What becomes of them?
And interestingly, the police headquarters is right there. Just about, I think about maybe, I don't know what it's about 500 feet or so away from the Capitol building, and yet the Capitol building can be gutted by fire like that, to be fair that the police director will be alluding it or to arson. It's very unfortunate as of given the state of events that are unfolding in the country and what happened just yesterday. It was when people demonstrated. That Capitol building and all buildings over there should have been fortified, should have been heavily guarded, because you do not want anybody going in there, besides the fire incident, going there damaging things or looting things out of the place. It was the responsibility of the police to provide protection for the Capitol building. But I don't know whether they did it or they did not do it. But I don't think it's professional for the police director to have conclusively indicated that it's arson. Now, let me be clear here that it is not wrong for the police director or the police or any security apparatus in the country to invite individuals for questioning. I mean, that's part of the investigative process. You can invite people for questioning. You understand? Just to glean, some of the comments they made. Why did you make this kind of comment? Because as investigators, you have to do that. You have to make sure that you interview everybody who could be a probable suspect if you believe if you have the the inclination that something went wrong, talk to them, but you cannot hold anybody responsible now for what happened at the Capitol building today, because you've not conducted an investigation of the incident to find out what really caused the fire. You have to do that. Otherwise, anything else that is done is political. It will be termed as witch hunting. And the government does not want to go down that rabbit.
Is the government going there now already? Or are we there already?
Well, I mean,
all of what is happening, they were allowing certain people entry, other people were not being allowed. Is that considered already? Are we there now, or because we have not entered, nobody got burned in it, so we not there? Is that what you think?
Hopefully, we are not there yet, because I don't think anybody has been incarcerated as a result of that. Nobody has been jailed. They invite people. The law enforcers have the right to invite people, to ask them questions, and after that, you release them. You cannot hold them for what happened in the Capitol building, because you don't have any substantial, scientifically proven evidence to state that this was an arson and that it was caused by this person. Because if you establish that it's an arson attack on the Capitol, then you have to find out who did it. Now, and if you have any suspects in mind, you have to prove that they did it. What actions did they take that make you to think that they are the ones that were involved in?
Even assume if they did it, then was there some sort of collaborator with people were assigned there.
Exactly.
But there was an incident that occurred, which we never used to see it. Capitol building, not a single day without me going to Liberia, without visiting Capitol. Because my late brother, Ifa, in the 80s, he was working there. So I know Capitol building very well. I have gone there to privilege to sit with the vice president in there. So that is our home of democracy. That's the first branch of government.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. It is absurd for anyone to do this here. But quickly here, should this thing have been avoided? Was there any way that this thing would have been avoided to get us to the point we are today?
You mean the fire?
The whole Capitol Saga thing. Was there anything that could have been done, whether from the government? And some of us, we were arguing the point here, and there were other school of thought say, "Oh no, you can't involve as executive do their own separation." Okay, separation. Here we are now. And that continues to endanger our people, because using the word the police ALJA was using, that more or less is something that has been orchestrated. There's a lot of political implications and all of that. Just within a split second, they have the president there, lawmakers, government officials, they form a cycle. So if it was also or some sort of terror act, were they taking into consideration that probably people who have planted explosive to those places because they know people are going to get it? How dumb is it that our security apparatus would allow the president there to go sit to go have a meeting? That is, we have seen all over the world things happen, how dangerous the terrorists and people can get things done. They just, in less than an hour, they have formed a cycle that I don't know what they try to prove, and they know very well they just do not have the capacity to detect anything. Whatever bottle they were showing there, do they have the forensic capacity to do it? And everybody being do is not like here. Everybody, literally everybody, they have people DNA. So that on the water bottle or whatever they had, where they're going to take it. Even they send it to America. Do they have anything they're going to match with? I mean, I just don't get it. Why would they do that? Every time things happen, we saw that with the protest, the rush in the president place there. And I can say, before you come in, before even the we are government, we saw the huge cache of where that investigation go, who hands is in, whatever it says, I don't know. Because our reporter, he was there yesterday, he got sort of tear gas, he couldn't go there. And he saw what happens heading from Vermont Hall, how NSA guy reported it. It was among the group, usually plan people. And when those people, they say, according to him, they saw a gun with him, and that guy was beaten. He told me I was waiting to see it, and the IG confirmed that today. So knowing all of these risks that involved, people are traumatized. There was no complete comprehensive demobilization in our country there. Every little 18 of people that they used to a lot of crazy things. We're seeing how the robbery, everything going on. For them to just out of a sudden, a some government official there, you don't know who's going to be somewhere down Jalatan overlooking the place and cause more chaos. Why are they doing that?
it was just plainly wrong and unprofessional on the part of the security forces, and even on the part of our leaders. Look, you had the entire government and all those that are charged with the succession under the dictates of the Constitution assembling there in our one location this morning. So you had the president, and there was the vice president, who is a possible, a successor of the president, and you had a pro temp, and almost the entire government assembling over there today. And just as you rightly said, what if something had happened? So it's just plain wrong, and I don't know what the education and the training of our security apparatuses are in our country, but the president should never, the vice president, none of these people should ever have been closer to that Capitol building today. The only individuals that were supposed to have been allowed over even the press should never even have gone that close. The only people that should have been over there today were the investigators. That's what you hear in the States, you see it. That entire perimeter, traffic should have been stopped. Nobody should have been allowed to enter the confines of that entire Capitol Hill today, and for days ahead, until the investigation can start. They can grab the samples that they need from the scene of the fire incident, and that investigator need to be able to take it to the laboratory to test it. But the entire area, you have journalists going over there. You have lawmakers going over there. Some of them crying. You have ordinary people going in there, and that entire scene. I'm sure, if care is not taken, the whole place is contaminated. So it's just unfortunate. I don't know whether we have the expertise to do any kind of forensic investigation. My thinking would be to glean on the expertise of individuals in the international community, to call on the U.S. government and other partners to help us in the investigation of the fire over there. Because if you're following, I decline to call it an arson, because I for now I cannot say conclusively that it's an arson, because we do not have any investigative report on it, and until that is done, I don't want people to be inferring that it's an arson. It was done by this, it was done by that person, because those will just be wild speculation and that have no scientific proof.
All right. I don't usually respond to comment, but I'm not sure. But Mr. Goya, I didn't say why the presence of undercover. I said our reporter who were covering the protester, the protester saw an undercover person with a pistol and a gun on him. They took that pistol away. I'm making the reference how dangerous it is. You don't know who took that pistol, and the police chief, I reported that today. So anybody could stand with outside the proximity of a Capitol building and just randomly fire in there. Anybody. People want to do bad, they do it. We saw what happened here recently, right here, right next door to us, New York here. And what's about our country? That's what we are saying. We are not saying why undercover. Of course, it's natural. We have been saying NSA undercover is all over. You see some cars doesn't even carry license plate. But those people, they are equipped. One person see what happened, and the police chief said they don't even know the whereabouts of the gun. Who is in possession of that gun? What danger would that person cause?
And why would you go undercover and carry something that will reveal your identity? Because the fact that you had gun blew your cover. You understand? If you're going in the midst of people who are just
and they put their shirt off and show the pistol. You're not
undercover. That's not undercover. You're not undercover. You're just exposing yourself, because undercover from the perspective of investigation means you disguise yourself and blend yourself within the confines of the environment, so that you can look just like the people in the environment. So that
you act like them.
Yeah, you act like them. You look like them. But if you go there with gun, no ordinary Liberia is not like United States.
Or let us see the pistol or the 45.
He just blew his cover. And if I were, working like, I wouldn't do that. If I were his boss, I would take punitive action against him. You cannot be undercover and reveal your identity by what you carry.
So, okay, I know we have an hour with you here. Hopefully we're going to be having these conversations. Any resolution to this whole thing here?
Well, Well, I mean, you say things. So there are two. I like to separate the fire incident at the Capitol building and the crisis in the
what
house.
is it? Yeah, okay. So before we do that here, before we do that separation here, because again, that's the very first time. But I would say, and I've said this here before. Let me just quote this here. The architect of this whole thing here, to everything, there's a root causes, there's an antecedent, there is something that get us to be where it is, and it is these three people. You have the executive, you have the Koga, Samuel Koga, the origins of this whole capital saga here. This is all about it, and I mean, there's no way for us to sugarcoat it. It started some big boss, some big person in the room should find a common ground. Here we are now, we are having this sort of obituary, and we're not going to allow violence. Say in the president word, violence is not anything nobody wants to allow it. People perpetrate it, people do it when they want to do it. They have their own plans no matter what. Security, even in the great United States, we saw what happened here since September 6th. People felt
you mean January 6th, right?
January 6th. People felt something and they just decided to do what they did. So it's not a matter of allowing, or are you saying other things were allowed before? But the question here, should this thing be, was there room enough to avoid the situation to get us where we are today?
You mean the crisis at the House of Representatives? Because like I said, I want to detach the fire incident from the crisis at the House of Representatives, because they're not the same thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So with the unfolding events relative to the impasse surrounding the speaker and the so-called, I like to call them so-called or renegade members of the House of Representatives, I think that there is clearly an executive interference. ALJA believes that the President Joseph Boakai, is seriously involved, and his involvement has further exacerbated the current crisis at the House of Representatives. Look, our constitution provides for three separate, distinct, and coordinated branches of government. That we have the legislature, the executive, and the judicial branch of government, and they have their distinct roles and their responsibilities. So when one segment, one branch of government begins to interfere in the affairs of another branch of government, then it tends to serve as a violation for the Constitution. We believe that President Boakai is the one who has assisted in the process of supporting the so-called majority black against the dictates of the Constitution. And we believe that Fonati Kofa has not been given due process as is required under our laws. The fact that there were even allegations, or there are allegations of the provision of bribery in exchange for the signature of lawmakers, to remove the speaker, but that in itself is the ground for investigation. We understand that the Anti-Corruption Commission is investigating it, but we don't think they are doing much to come, because it's been more than 2 months since this crisis started. The House of Representatives crisis started. You understand? The fact that bribery is involved, we thought that the government would have gotten involved seriously and try to investigate the claims of bribery to find out who is bribing, because bribery under our laws is wrong. And we also see that these so-called majority lawmakers are being lodged at a luxury hotel in Monrovia. Who is paying the hotel bills? Who's paying the bills for these people? Where did the fund come from to provide, bribery to these people? You understand? And the government has the capacity to do an investigation, because it's easy, to determine the source and use of fund if you're doing investigation that surrounds bribery. But the government is not doing anything to the effect that will lead to an investigation of the bribery claims. Besides that, the so-called majority lawmakers are taking decisions that are that controvert their own rules and the laws of our country. They went to the Supreme Court on multiple occasions. The Supreme Court came up with a ruling. In the latest ruling of the Supreme Court, which I believe, was very ambiguous. I mean, because it was not definitive in saying whether the so-called majority was wrong, or Kofa was wrong, or whether Kofa, they had their decision to remove the Kofa was in line with the laws of our country. But the ruling was taken and given to the Attorney General and Justice Minister of the Republic of Liberia, who interpreted it and skewed the interpretation in the interest of the executive branch of government and the so-called majority branch of government, to the effect that this government, the Bwaka government, has now begun doing official business with the so-called majority black of the House of Representatives, in controversion of the laws of the republic and the constitution of our nation. And we believe that this is very wrong. It's a very bad precedent, and it has a proclivity to derail the peace of our country and to undermine, the basic tenets of democracy that we all espouse, both, locally and internationally. Bwaka, under his arrest agenda, has, upholding the rule of law as a fundamental element. You cannot be upholding the rule of law at the same time interfering in the affairs of the House of Representatives, and at the same time supporting particular members of the House of Representatives against a speaker who was duly elected, whose removal should meet the stipulations in the Constitution and in their own rules and in the House of Representatives. We believe it's very wrong. If the ruling of the Supreme Court, if the government believed that the ruling of the Supreme Court was not clear enough, the best they should have done was to file for a bill of information seeking clarification on the ruling provided by the Supreme Court. They did not do that. And to ask your justice minister, who you appointed to interpret the law for you, ultimately, I mean, there's no way that the justice minister will interpret the law against the wishes and the whims of the president, who is clearly involved in undermining the authority of Speaker Kofa.
Okay, let's. Okay, to the analysts, the link is out here. Before you go to announce, if all goes well from the information we're getting, we will be playing host, appearing live on the examiner here on Sunday. Will be Representative Melvin Court of Pong County will be my special guest here to try to reach out to the other side to get their side of the story, to making it fair, balanced, and proportional. So Melvin Cole. To Friday, I will be having ULA President, Mr. Keita, and his team will also be here. We'll talk about ULA, and we will talk about what is happening, because it is important. These organizations, directly, indirectly, they are making investment, and they are all advocacy groups. We need to know where they stand on critical issue. We just don't want to leave it there. What was the other piece? Analysts, the link is out there to join, and we will scramble on that. What was the other point that you wanted to make?
Well, the other point that I wanted to make is just clearly on the recent threat issued by Representative Samuel Koga against Julius J of OKFM, in which he, made some threatening remarks against the journalist because of his reportage on the state of events unfolding at the Capitol building. I think it is wrong. If it is a controversial,
should the police call him in as well?
Oh, well, I do not think the police should call him because we do not proceed that way. But I think he should stop it. We do not want a democracy in which lawmakers or any public official will be intimidating or threatening journalists. Journalists are there to report what they see, what they hear.
The link is out there. I already sent the link to everybody.
So we believe it's wrong, and that Representative Koga should stop this. We condemn his actions in the very strongest term, and we think that it has a proclivity to threaten freedom of speech and of the press in our country.
Okay, well, what a fascinating conversation, Mr. President. Like you rightfully say, I hope this is just not going to be the one-time shot. And we hope if we can even have a representative from ALJA side to always, contribute to balance it, because we have folks here. It's a combination of all. There are people who get a political side. That's okay. We like to have a balanced faith. We need to have an independent group to be here to square out. So we appreciate, we'll work with you just in case anybody who willing to tap in here to always contribute routinely to us here as well on these critical issues. That's something we want to do. Again, our lines are always open here to have these critical, national, and painful conversation, which normally do not go in the favor of certain people. But that is okay. That is what it's all about, no matter what. I mean, why might you not get a link? Yeah, you're tweeting too much. Why you then maybe you're going into the phone? I'm sending it again. The link, I sent the link out there. So, but before I'm sending it again. I think I send it out to everybody. I'm sending it again once more time. Before we let you go, what do you want to, what could be your final word here on this whole thing here? If you were asked to make a recommendation, is it too late already?
No, no. But so my recommendation in the current saga is that all parties to the
Please check again.
Revert to respecting the rule of law and the tenets of democracy in our country. The Constitution is very clear on the role of the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch of government. We do not want a country in which the justice minister will have the authority to interpret the ruling of the Supreme Court. He does not have that power. Otherwise, the best they can do is just to shut down the judicial branch of government, because there's no need for the authority of the ruling, of the interpretation of the Supreme Court ruling to be done by the Justice Ministry. So we call on the executive to respect, the principles of separation of power as is enshrined in our Constitution. And we also call on the conflicting parties in the House of Representatives to try to find an amicable resolution to the crisis, that is currently going on in the motherland there in Liberia, because we believe that the mode by which they are proceeding is wrong. They are breaching the laws, their own rules, and the Constitution, and so they would not be able to resolve the current issue they have there just by violating the laws. So that will be essentially a parting comment.
Okay. Do you think, quickly here, do you think the Supreme Court will ever come to do any ratification? Do you think would they answer the call, the request made by the minority bloc or so?
Yeah, I'm told that the Speaker, Speaker Kofa, filed for a motion, I think a bill of information from the Supreme Court, which effectively is a request for the provision of clarification on the ruling or interpretation of the ruling. So I think, under the laws, the court is required to do that. So ultimately, they should be able to.
What happened when they say we have put out what we put out? If there's no further comment, then what that means?
No, there will be comment. I don't want to speculate, but there will be. They are required by law to provide clarification on that ruling whenever it's sought by any aggrieved party.
Okay, all right. I think the time we allotted for you is over. Unless you want to hang up, that is okay. But Toto, everybody else, the link is out there. But I want to thank you so much for jumping in here. Hopefully, we can continue to have this sort of conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, LPR, for giving ALJA the opportunity. Like I said, we hope this will not be the last time extending invitation to us, because we will always be inclined to appearing on your show whenever the need arises. So again, I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity, and we hope that you and your colleagues who are members of ALJA here in the United States will be very much involved in the affairs of ALJA. That we're looking forward to seeing you at our next convention.
Trust me. I swear to God in heaven, like brother say next convention.
Yeah, you gotta be there.
I will be there. They are trying to kind of say the one person in my mind is, oh man, okay, I'll not be in Minnesota, but anyway, I force myself.
So the next one is going to be Maryland. We'll be in Maryland.
Okay, Maryland. All right. Yeah. Please share with us information in terms of any information to get out. We'll also do that as well.
Absolutely.
Whatever coverage needs. We are had this. We've been doing that. That's part of us, our association, President Mason, Sandy, we have had a good relationship and want to continue that.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. So the Twitter man, you want to add it? Say.
Okay, then have a.
Okay, then. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay, let's see here. Let's return home to the other folks. The link is out. Dr. Toto, the liberal progressive, Terry, Dr. Mali.
Keep looking on our list, Manina on our list. I just got the link when you say you're sending it to me alone. That's the one I got.
No, really? I sent it.
Yeah.
Bro.
I mean, I kept refreshing my email. I'm telling you, I think you're doing
You,
something.
part of that is
I think we need to go to the Supreme Court. I think there has to be an ultra virus and return to status quo.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you want to be part of the majority of brown LPR. So that's what happened when you form part of an illegal group.
You're taking all of my immunities away, my gas slip. I can't get it. I can't get my scratch card. You're taking everything away.
I think this thing, we need to cut this thing off. Say, look at that, we're breaking this problem, the committee, gas slave, this one, and all of that.
So, while we're waiting for everybody to come in, we were just listening to National Public Radio, right? My family and I were coming home. And in the stopgap budget that got passed, the $1 trillion that is supposed to allow the U.S. government to function until May of next year, the representatives in the United States recently, in a long time, passed for them to make $180,000. That would be $15,000 a month. U.S. representatives are just now proposing to make $15,000 a month. Our men be way ahead of them a long time ago.
That was all the trouble for. They can't, all the court they're talking about, they men that would never cut anything here. Okay, we got to keep the ball rolling and hopefully to keep the line open here as well. Look, what is happening in the country is very unusual, and I think it has reached a level. It's bad. I think I was just talking about it. I say this thing gonna get, because people react to things differently. People being loyal is not to the country, is to individuals. And these people, well, we can't even get anything away. They will fade away. We saw that happening. Institutions, individuals, they come, seasonal people are there, but they do not have that law for the country. And it's not either a political ideology. It's just unless it's it. So they can't say in the whole, I will go to anything that they do, I'm going to kill. No. The point that we have reached, I'm afraid in the sense that the bitterness is just way over the top.
Yeah.
What is the resolution for this?
Look, what happened in Liberia is despicable. Doesn't make sense. Why is our democracy so much laced with violence? When has it become so acceptable that the only way we speak our disagreement is through hurting one another? Like, we no longer use words. We no longer use our ideas to compete, right? I no longer feel the need to come to you, Mr. So, because I'm a broom man and you are whatever, somewhere else. Instead of me convincing you with my ideas to come to my side, I'd much rather demean you and dehumanize you for the position that you hold. It is no longer a competition of ideas to better Liberia. It is all about a race to disrespect you, to call you names for holding a position or a political position versus, hey, Mr. So, why do you think that way? Here is how I think. Here is how I think we should go, and bring you along. I think we lost that craft in our liberal politics. And you hit the nail on the head when you talked about this whole thing about the individualized part of our politics. This I refer to as the You know, that's why you see on here for fun, I got Falayen. Because Thomas Falayen left CDC, now the Falayis and the Falayens, and everybody will follow him. You have the Wiashen, you have the Boashen, or whatever New York give it. When will we get to a point where we follow an ideology because that ideology has an end, and the end is to move Liberia forward? We all might disagree on the road we take to go forward, but we at least agree that we need to go forward. But the problem now is we don't even agree that we need to go forward. For some people, putting the car in R is moving forward. And for those other people who realize that R is going in reverse, we don't even have the patience. And today I wrote on my Facebook page, I said that inflated intelligence, it's a more dangerous thing to our liberal democracy than artificial intelligence. Because people who sit up here and they think they're up here. And so because Terry is saying something I disagree with him, I call him Tani Sedition, or I call him so many other names. And instead of going down and say, Terry, here is how I think we should have this conversation. We all have to first believe that every Liberian, whether you belong to Tewan Gonglo, our Bloom that losing straws, or you belong to CPP, or you belong to CDC or to Unity Party, we first have to all agree that we all want to move Liberia forward. We just disagree on how fast to move Liberia forward, or the way to move Liberia forward. But that is missing in our political discourse. And so you find a situation like what's happening. We out there begging people to give us money to feed ourselves, but we're burning our homes down. Make that make sense. They're going to put us back at the cost of what? At the cost of more public school teachers getting raises, at the cost of our hospitals getting more drugs, because they're going to have to rebuild that. What is going to be the opportunity cost?
I'm prepared to take a hit from you, from Terry, and from our folks here tonight, because I just do not like to manage crisis. We are not used to managing crisis. We try to avoid it. I was saying it here, and everybody, the political pastor and his liberals and everybody, no. Oh, Mr. Collins, you here already? Are you the one talking to? Caught on camera already, Jackson, right? You don't gossip here about Obama. I don't need a microphone. Look, Terry, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Soul and CM Brother Sissy. How you doing, man?
Yeah. My
and
plea,
to our many
my plea on this network from the onset of this whole thing here, because credit card, I've not done any investigation to say, but we all know the genesis, what got us to this point is from this whole freaking speakership. You speaker and not speaker, blood number one, blood number two. And I came here and I was saying here, and some of you said, no, that hey, somebody needed to step in to stop this. And it was a simple reason, because our people lack of political tolerance, indiscipline. They do not value, there's no love for the country, that they can't argue. And for day to go the next day, when you pass, June passed by July, here we are today. See what happened to this first branch of, this is a very beautiful building. This is the first branch of government. These are people that makes consequential decisions for all, whether we like it or not. See what happened, whether it's an electrical fault, whatever fault it is. I hope that we really know the cause of this, so that this whole thing can be put to a rest. But Terry, I was actually in bed early this morning, and then I started getting phone call, image, picture.
Don't forget, we're gonna come back to ALJA. We're not run away from ALJA. ALJA got a responsibility. I need to hold them to. But
well, you want to. This is all things considered. You want to go to ALJA. I'm more or less concerned with what happened there. You want to talk about ALJA? That the power bar saw it from day one when you start talking. I don't know what you get. I don't know. You get some cool background or whatever.
The man is a cool man. The man look at the man. The man got cool blood in.
I am from Konabo District. My name is Tile. I'm from Konabo.
Don't can't get my ground people into trouble here. Wake up from with Tele Bene. I don't know if I meant to be kind of like Sunday, but I think you get. We need to do your some sort of a background check. Maybe you get some crew or rebel background, something like that. But look, on a serious note, Terry, should this thing have been avoided if some of us are getting this consolatory tone by allowing the big boy in the house either from do a political workout, get the numbers that is required, and or tell people stand down. That did not happen. I am more concerned, and like I was talking here, the thing happened today. The president decided. The president went there. Okay, people will say the president tried to is want to show strength that is in control. It's okay, but that was a volatile or hostile ground there. Crazy. You get a lot of people. We see that happening here for no reason. People they live somewhere after 4 or 5 years. They go there and go harm people because some of them, even whether they dismiss them, whether for justifiable reason, but they still have that thing in her, and they act crazy. There are a lot of mental health issues. Well, no specific data, but we all know what the country went through. People were not comprehensively demobilized. Everybody used to gun. If you watch some of the images on YouTube from the past and see those people, and even if you go to Liberia, you see physically how people believe, there's sort of hallucination, people walking, talking, doing all sort of things. It's abnormal. So those kind of people, whatever comes in mind, they can do anything. Whether Kofa Azen, whether Koga Azen, whether President Boyka or whoever, anybody can cause just crazy, do some crazy silly thing out there, and it just leave for a headache. Let me just bring you in.
Well, Mr. So several things happening here, and I'm sad, but I'm not frustrated because I want President Boyka to wake up. I want him to wake up, you know. So, and I think if this is,
Is he sleeping?
I think he's been sleeping. Let me be honest with you, he's been sleeping. You know, I want him to wake up. I thought that the CDC were going to have a protest that would have wake him up, but again, because the people saw so much devastation on the CDC, so the people don't care about CDC whether they get on the street or not. That's why the protests were not successful, so they decided to go into Plan B.
Is that a CDC protest?
That's what an issue
It
has
was a
been.
CDC protest.
It was a CDC protest yesterday, but
It was.
it was not successful because they couldn't get the people they needed to get on the street. So the protests were not organic. It was not natural. That is why you are not seeing people talking, because like when a major protest take place and it's an organic protest, after the protest, you will see people curl up in talking about the protest on or CO, Palawa. You will see, but you can't see anybody because this was not a protest. This was a strategy to cause chaos. And we saw that happening over the weekend when Yeke Kolobade moved into Banga and tried to lobby and look for some guys around to come to cause chaos. So, since the protest, the intent of the protest yesterday was not successful, they revert to Plan B. But what I want to say is that President Boyka, you see, one of the things I also want, this is the reason why African leaders can pressure the media, because the media in the African leadership always create confusion and they create chaos. All right, some media institutions around, even in the US here, have been really putting fire in the thing. They have to be neutral and they have to be balanced. You understand that, Mr. So, but I'm not going to put this thing on anybody yet. But we already seen all the innuendos and all the kind of thing. But take, for example, Mr. So, like I was talking about the dog whistles. Once you see those dog whistles, you know that something is under the bridge. It was just a matter of time. But there's another side that is making me not to be frustrated, is that people have seen Honorable Fanatic Kofa leadership. His leadership are being exposed. You say you are the man of the law. Your people should have remained with the side of the law. But you have progressed to escalate into this kind of dimension now. Are we still following the law?
So wait a minute. What are you saying? Is our fanatic Kofa people what? They brand the bill, the capital, or what? What are you talking about?
Oh, but just how you guys have been speculating that the president here is in the removal of Speaker Kofa, even though we don't have proof, that how everybody now will be speculating that Fanatic Kofa here is behind this thing because of the dog whistles that he blew prior to the fire eruption. We don't have proof yet, but just how you've been speculating. Yeah, they see road I can hear monkey again. Just how you've been speculating that President Boga here inside, and we've been seeing some signs that the scene where we have the right, the Liberian people to have the right to speculate that Kofa here inside, because he used some Alamo or why he used certain kind of word on his.
Yeah, remember the Alamo? Remember the Alamo in Texas?
Yes. Yep. Then prior to that, on the 10th of November, he said, fear nothing but to do wrong. That one stay with me on his post. Then the Alamo, he took it down. After he posted it, he took it down. And then you have the violence. But my thing is, what I'm sad about is that people who supposed to be redeeming, be revolutionary, especially after the story of the settlers, how they suppressed the natives in their own land. These are also native people in the house. These are people that are supposed to feel revolutionized to bring transformation to the place. But then you're destroying the place for which you sonny. I don't understand that. I really don't. But when you ask me a question, too much corruption in our place. So if they burn it down, say, maybe when they burn it down, it will help us to build a new one. Because at that place there, everything in our place corrupt. But whether if it have saved for nothing, it have worsened his condition. And this will be a ground for which if the president pushing out of the position now, like everybody saying the president behind, nobody will do it.
What you say before I go to sister?
Well, I don't have proof to say the president behind it, but it's a speculation.
Yesterday, not even yesterday, you said, well, you are all indication that the executive.
No, I said Jeremiah Kun put the government in a compromised position. I didn't say the president directly involved. I said Jeremiah Kun put the government in a compromised position because he was not supposed to have that meeting and come on public video.
Prior to Jeremiah's statement.
Prior to Jeremiah's statement, I have been saying that this thing looked like the hand of the executive. And I know that the hand of the executive, speculation by speculation, not by facts. I don't have any evidence to prove it.
Okay. So, all right, let me bring in Mr. Goya. So say me, I say all the waba here, if President Joseph Boyka, he as the president, he has the authority to make sure to politically rally his base and maybe go through the proceedings of impeaching Speaker Kofa. As far as I'm concerned, he has not been successful at impeach. It's one aspect that was done. It's not conclusive because they did not fulfill the constitutional aspect that vote will be counted to get that number 49 to impeach the speaker. What they have said, what they have done is dangerous and is part of what get us here today. Sissy, let me bring you in here. Who should be here?
I think there are a few things here that you're insinuating. The first piece is, first of all, it's not an insinuation. The speaker was not being impeached, he was being removed. Those are two different things.
Right.
The speaker as a leader among his equals. So for Natif Kofa was being told by the national legislators that they no longer want for Natif, well, he's a thief, the records are right here, for Natif Kofa to be there.
Serious contention.
Yeah, when they catch me to all right, I'm gonna do what I want to do. So that is a removal, not an impeachment. Let's be very frank with that. For Natif Kofa was not elected by the Liberian people to be speakers. You were elected for Natif Kofa. He was elected to be a member of the House of Representatives. Number two, on the one hand, there are people that are saying that the Supreme Court should not have intervened because it's a separate branch of government. But the other people saying Joseph Boyka should intervene, even though it's a separate branch of government. We can't have our cakes and eat it too. In either case,
we didn't start taking phone call here, man.
In either case, even if the Supreme Court should have been clearer, even if Joseph Walker should have intervened, it does not excuse the burning down of the Capitol. Let's get that straight. It does not excuse it. It does not license it. That is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong today, yesterday, day after tomorrow, regardless of the reason it's wrong. But let me go back to draw a line to ALJA. Because here's where we always ask on this platform, what is the importance of civil society? You have the president of ALJA sitting here, trying to interpret the rulings of the Supreme Court and taking a side. When in most civilized democracy, they will have a lawyer that would have filed an amicus brief, a friend of the court brief that had to go to file a brief for the Supreme Court, stating his side and his understanding. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. So a bunch of people who, that's why I asked the question, what is the percentage of the membership that still practice journalism? Is it the American Association of Former Liberal Journalists? Because if you are interested, if you want to find out what is the ruling, you will have a lawyer that will file an amicus brief. And beyond that, because you're not a lawyer, you also have a lawyer on retainer that will explain to you their understanding before you take side and say, Speaker Kofa has not been removed or he has been removed. It's different from you and myself having this conversation. But when you are ALJA and I'm trying to have that conversation, this is how people undermine themselves. And you are talking about the president and the vice president within 6 months, both took positions in government to go to Liberia. And how, that's why I asked, is this EULA 2.0? How are people supposed to still believe in your advocacy that whatever you say is not just for the next job that's coming available?
Okay, so here I still remain my point. The president should have intervened. The interventions of the executive is political. And that political is all about the president. He or she wants his agenda to be pushed. And part of that is to go through the legislative process. Now, they are removing, okay, you say it's not a pinch. Okay, so I don't know whether we have two speakers, they're removing, but they are replaced, and the government now is doing business with these people. I am saying the perfect way to have done it to make it conclusive. Make it conclusive. The president, you have the executive power, you have your people, you can throw in your political weight, rally to the legislature because it has to go through a process, and that's what the law says. A complete impeachment or removal of this speaker is to get it number 49, and they know that they cannot get that number 49. And we all know there were indicators used by the executive to influence this process when they should have even used their political weight to rally their base and make sure people who were on Kofa side just had to talk to people. And what do? To take it on the floor. And the law says when the speaker is removed or impeached, it gives 6 months where people will be able to contest. We didn't see it in this place. Instantly, they removed the speaker. The next thing we saw somebody with one hand, left hand up.
The law says 6 months. Which of the law that says 6 months?
60 days.
60 days.
60 days.
60 days. That did not happen. All of these are violations. They didn't stop there. Immediately, they began to institute committee, okay, because they put their speaker there. Is all of these here, these are all attributes. Is it right for people to do what they did? No. But we know the history, and that's what people might not like. Then we know the history. People yesterday felt their rights, their civil liberties, they were infringed. And what happened? We saw people leaving the country, and what they did, they came through borders and they decided to take arms. And what we saw happen, the country literally broke into ethnic clenchings. It didn't reach that level, but you saw this other group, this other group, this other group, and the whole entire country was factionalized.
So you agree with tearing down the Fonati wanted $1 million budget, so that's why he burned down the Capitol because he was.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about I'm just taking the retrospect of the history that get us to here. So these are things some of us were saying that these things should have been avoided by the executive using their political will, rally around the people, do whatever thing. In the legislature, it's all about interest. money. People spend it, all happy here. People love it, but our people, they do not have this sort of lobbying skill. They do not have this sort of political tolerance. That's what I was talking about. So everybody were in a fight. I win it. No, you are the one win it. And we see what is happening. So they get us to be where they are. They all should be. They are all responsible for it. They say they were not going to intervene. They never waited for the Supreme Court founded the decisions. They began to do business with other people. That prompted all of these situations. That's my view. That's my opinion. And I believe it is because of the actions of the executive, because of their unwillingness to see it coming to a total resolution by not even allowing the Supreme Court. They began to send budget hearing to other people. They began to, when is that vice president introducing recognizing Kong? Of course, once the minister of justice says it, they want to do it. But we are saying they all laid the foundation to get us to be where we are today. Terry.
Well, you got some point there too. They laid a foundation to get us to where we are, but it did not call for us to burn down the building. So even though we come to where we are, we can't be destroying the properties for which we need. And that is the mentality of the Liberian. That what we burn down our infrastructure, the little ones that we had during the war. We thought that we were fighting. We came to fight the people, but we're fighting the structures. So people literally dug the copper from in the ground. And now Huh?
Exactly. I said, because that's one of the reasons the hydro today, people went there and everybody.
Yes, and that's why the hydro is down. So the same thing happened to the mansion too. Up to now, that investigation is still going on. We can't find no take about the mansion fire that was the burn of the mansion. And the worst thing, we steal from ourselves. All right, all the money they spend to renovate that mansion up to today, every time the budget go there, you steal it and it's going to be the same thing with the capital. I don't know if that may transfer to the executive now. To the judiciary, because the judiciary is right across the street. So where are we really going? Because this particular decent building that they burn, so it's going to take many years to repair that building because the people already current. The people ain't even got CCTV in this modern age. They don't even have CCTV around the building to identify people. This thing is very easy to investigate. All right. You start first with the staffers, the security. They got security at the building that take care of that big place there. Besides the police security, you also have security that's supposed to be caretaking that particular place. The security have to know something. And from there going forward. But I don't want for this investigation to just be in the air hanging and nothing come out of it. We all forget about it. Richard Kuhn, they start having a meeting somewhere else and Richard Kuhn and other kind of things. So I don't know. And the worst part about it, to point everything to Fanatic Group, the people burn the joint chamber where the majority of black people normally meet. I think that is the only place that really burned down to ashes. So it is clear that this thing was done from the minority because they started the whole thing. For me, just how we've been speculating about other people, I will keep speculating. Yeah, that they are the ones did it until it can be proven that they were not the one who did it. And I think it's the end for what he named Honorable Kofa. Because one of the things you got to understand, the budget is supposed to be hearing that the budget is supposed to be passed on Friday. So they had to do everything possible. And the moment our budget passed, obviously, Speaker Kofa is out. He's going to get a regular budget as a common representative.
Yeah.
1.9 in the budget is going to go to Richard Kuhn.
Yeah, for that we know already, this government on purpose ignored, violated all of the basic principles of the rules, whatever they want to do, of course. And it's political, that is on. But it will also be on there. But let me just go to our caller online here, to our contributor here, to calling here, and we're going to open the phone line here. Let me go to Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what? Capitol Building brought you?
No, I did send my request, but it appeared that I didn't get
Oh,
I want to
oh,
contribute to this.
oh, you. Oh, okay. No, because I was not too sure who's. I try to figure. Oh, so you want to come by video?
Well, I can bet, if you want to.
Oh yeah, no, because I saw that, but I tried to, because I was already live here. I would appreciate that. It's been a long time too. There are a lot of folks here. Guys, just bear with me a little bit. Just go over there your email address again for free. Let me just do it.
It's ETOMAH, Toma98@yahoo.com.
You say
The kind of spam messages you can get is hidden from me. I get your email address.
Wow.
ETOMAH98@yahoo.com.
Oh my God. Do me a favor, my whole brain here frozen. Can you
Okay, let me
text it?
text that.
Yeah, text it.
Yeah, message. I got your email address. I come and say it's no spam messages.
Who's that? Okay. Just text me it and I'll bring you. Okay. I cut off Keto. Breakable, hold on, yeah, man. You by Jesus. Okay, my goodness, the line is gonna be Keto, please call back. I mistakenly turn you off. Okay, Breakable, let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, thank you for the show.
Yeah, okay. Keto is calling back. Yeah, go ahead.
My listeners, and that's strange to me.
Man, talk about your own.
Listen,
okay,
listen to this and look, it's not strange.
The man still man on the screen is start with S. He still coming Zizé. So what you telling me?
Just calling people near Zizé.
The man will stay just leave him alone. The man still man start with S. He still coming Zizé. So what you expect?
Listen, I call you anyway. I call you
Okay, guys are on the line.
I'm too sure the member there is very listening appreciate.
You just try your own.
I told you now, you have to miss a chance now, please.
Thank you, man. Okay.
Hello?
Clarence, we're hearing you, please.
Okay, boss.
You see now when you turn that off, then they say you're not allowed them to want to talk.
Can you meet up people by?
Yeah, with the room on that side, the last room on the side, all the room alone, they have not been done.
What kind of is this?
Okay, I will do. Okay, boss. Okay.
What the poor answer now, you don't want to call up. Okay, Breakable, make your point quickly, please.
Okay, look, Terry, I'm too sure I have your memory can listen to you. If you preach, then say, judges the same, that's your answer. Then the next day say, oh, judges the same, they speak. You contradicting yourself every minute, every day. Oh, sorry. You didn't know what you said? You said, what will happen to cover on the road? But today you said, it ain't.
Clarence, please make sure you maintain your background. We're getting noise, so I have to turn
every
it off.
minute, every second. Keep shaving blade. You keep shaving blade. What happened on a Capitol Hill today? It's only that because everybody should be condemning. But you all know today, you all make politics out of every issue. So the one having grandmother candidate that's decision today. You keep making it like that something they be discussing. You see my statement. Do you know how much 7 years back begging? All those 7 years back begging. Even you go back to man. You go on your camp, you call it the hero. You may make 37 for 6 years.
Okay.
The president is supported.
Thank you.
You may make 37.
Let me go to
you won't condemn it.
All right.
But you won't condemn it to everything happen.
Okay.
Look at this is your man.
All
You know
right.
this is it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, what was he saying?
I don't understand what.
Hey, Mr. So how you doing?
You have to have interpreter from somewhere else to interpret breakable powers. So man, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, man, my grandma. Yeah, man. You can't try to own that whole day. Terry, I don't know what you did to them people. You say.
The man hate you.
Clarence, let's hear you.
Oh, Mr. So, for me, I condemn the incident that took place at Capitol building today. Because I incident started this morning on our time here, but reason for what? When the coup thing before he getting the one, the fight gender from the coup thing begin to make it before calling for fire service. But the first thing our local, from the council, they host and have this supported financial cover. And I said it when he got to begin to break door. when he got him begin to misbehave, I said these people are destroying for Natiko's political career gradually. And he didn't listen. He played a wrong politics. Wrong politics in the sense that the entire population of the country, I can say, 75% of the population are already supporting you because of the illegal removal. But if you have a man in your blood, continue to kill on violence at the end of the day, any other thing that happens when they are doing something, they'll be killing your political career. I'm not saying that for the Natiko's group is the one that did it. But from the statement, you listen to Foco, when you go on a press conference that you had, they were blowing the wall, they were blowing the Capitol building. If we had a clean investigator in our country, you should be called and get here for investigation. But if we destroy all of these property, then we say that that's for politics. That's what I said yesterday on the Sato show. I said those people that go on the street because 7 lawmakers were suspended, so they are paying business going to protest. They are cheering out in school, so they can have a jail food, but they are going to protest for somebody else's salary. What benefit are you getting for all of this? And we destroy our own country just because of politics? I don't see it fair.
Okay.
I don't see it fair. The last thing I want to make, for example, today, I was watching Zopina in grandchildren. Look at the young lady that boys Zopina also in grandchildren. What can you get for all of those people? And we want for our country to be like Ghana. We want for our country to be like South Africa. But every letter to go to somebody else when you destroy it. I don't see it fair like that in the politics. Don't do it. Don't talk here or more and make a politics on Facebook. Then destroy the politics that we are fighting the bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me see who the next person is. So I'll go back to the line. Keto, you can stay with us. Let me talk to Christopher quickly, then I can go. Christopher, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Su.
Good evening. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Mr. Su, it's been a long time, and it's good to be with you again tonight. I'm not going to go the political route. I don't think something like when people try to commit an act of terrorism, when people terrorize our people try to burn down the Capitol, and then we try to attack certain political institution or maybe lawmaker from a certain party. I think that's wrong. And in my own opinion, I think Gregory Gregory has a big problem on his hand. I think Gregory is worried about losing his job, and so he's trying to please people. And he might go down in the history of Liberia as one of the worst police director ever, because he allowed the politics to consume him. And he's being misguided right now. And it's a struggle. And so he's between a rock and a hard place.
All right.
You know what I mean? As a professional man, as a man who has an extensive background in terms of criminal justice, somebody tried to burn down our Capitol. And without any empirical evidence, no facts, no nothing, you did not even secure the crime scene properly. You put our president in danger. In terms of why, if our chemical weapon over there today, the president could have died. All these things, instead of going to find evidence, you're accusing Safoko prematurely, including other people.
Thank you.
It got nothing to do. I don't want to go political. I'm not here to attack unity.
How is that not political already?
I'm speaking on in terms of criminal justice and law enforcement, crime scene protection, and all of that. I think Gregory has a big problem, and I think we are in for the shock. Look, we have a problem on our hands.
Okay, thank you so much.
The team go out of control. It will not be a Unity Party problem or CDC problem, or maybe ANC problem. It will be a Liberian problem.
All right.
A Liberian problem.
Thank you so
and
much.
And I want us to approach it from that point of view, instead of people coming here and talking about Fonati Kopa burn this and that. Let's speak to the evidence. Let's speak to what happened. Let's look for power, look for truth, and let's not persecute the wrong people or go after the wrong people, so they can't say we are targeting individual or we are targeting political or politician we don't like, or political party.
All right,
I think the
Christopher,
Americans
thank
are
you. Let me
watching.
go back to the last few.
Thank you very much. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, Keto and Evans, you gotta call. There's somebody call us. You gotta wait. Pat Jackson, good evening. Welcome.
Yes, how are you, Mr. So? And Cece, how are you? And Terry, how are you also?
How you doing, sir? Mr. Jackson.
Okay. Okay,
Just so
so
you know, Mr. Jackson, I saw your request. I told Alfonso, I texted him and said, Mr. Jackson wanted to leave. I mean, not coming here today. So just so you know.
Thank you, Cece.
that cheap one, even though I'm gonna father, I said, I'm gonna pay for that.
That's Samuel Kuga here on the
Yeah,
for the
yes, you hear, sir. That poor guy, we are different here. You see, Terry, now yeah.
No, Libra is not there, so he's replacing Libra today.
These people,
the mega fire.
they're liberal, then they are trying to form some kind of majority group here.
Yeah.
Samuel Koga and one.
Yeah.
Look, on a serious note, there are a lot of serious things happening for Jackson. Good to have you here. Good to see you here. It's more time for us to be vigorous in these national conversations, to know what is going on, and to also make our people to look through the land. But politics conversation is so difficult. What do you make of this whole thing here? How we got to this point?
Well, let me just respond to your question. That I was, I don't know whether that was your monologue. Is how did we get here? And one of the things that I have seen from the 80s, from President Dole, then to Taylor, is leadership. Leadership does not come by how many books you know or how many PhD you have. Leadership is natural. There are some people that have it, and when they say things, and they mean it. And what I noticed, from the two forces, that are clashing, they don't have leadership. And there where I feel, and because the lack of leadership, this is where all the things are, degenerating, to chaos. Let's take, Folanti. Folanti is a leader, he is controlling almost 70-some group of people. He lose up to 43, and he is still talking about legitimacy. He's not able to win his side. It's an issue. And then he said he want to cling to the law. The law came through majority. And once you can't have majority, you can't make a law. So what is the issue? The same thing with the president. If you're a president, I don't care what they say, the separate branch of government. Anything that is good, that's bad, fall on the president. And he also had to show leadership. He didn't show leadership. And this has caused this country now to have to reduce to the level of Haiti. And I can tell you, Alfonso and NPR, all the panelists, I can tell you the fact there will be nobody willing now to say they will take the investment to Liberia. The same way the American government had issued sanction, issue warning, to all American citizens to get away from Haiti, it's the same thing that will happen to Liberia. I can tell you the fact, because there is no leadership. For yesterday, for few group of people to say they want to petition, and those who they wanted to petition were not in the Capitol building. So what was the essence? And if the president could find his way, I expected the president to go over the air, and say this is supposed to be done. I don't see anything from him. And up to this day, I have not seen the government come on, to issue a position statement to see what is the way forward. They have not come up with anything yet. The investigation, I can tell you the fact. When January 6th came about, I can tell you the fact. Those who connect, they were run up. And today, some of them are still going through investigation. I don't see it from the government, Mr. Sitze. So this is how we came about, because lack of leadership. I will expand more as other people. Let me just give another panelist chance for them to expand on it.
Okay, Keto is on the phone here. Keto, let me come to you before I go back to Sissy, and I don't know whether you're in that position to come on here. Keto, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's hear you before Elvis is also on the phone. So how we got here? Who drove the train to reach out to where we are today?
First of all, I want to establish some stuff here because I see some of the panelists jumping the gun like the president did. I think they're following the president footsteps. Let's go back a few days ago. There was a fire outbreak in that very place, close to the renegade speaker office, where they have a 2 or 3 panel caught fire, the electrical panel caught fire and burned, and had a fire service come do up there, or in the office, security people, police go over there, it burned. Fast forward, see an outbreak of another fire almost in the same vicinity that engulfed that whole area and burned it down. And then we jumped to conclusion that because somebody was having a really bad day because of the proceeding in the House 5 or 6 months ago on a whole different issue, and using the way they speak in the legislature or the representative house, had they been arguing among themselves, saying people were annoyed, we were able to say, it will now have section with disrupt section. If they do that, we'll bring this place down, the section down. They grabbed that video, they tipped the video or cut the video and put it out there to say, because he said it was 3 days ago, he said it. Come to find out that video was like 6 months ago. Okay, we agree. He said it. And so the police have right to call him to ask him questions. But the police, instead of calling him to ask him questions, they sent a whole troop, a whole battalion with 40 armed men, 3 trucks to go arrest this man and bring him. All right? So let's establish the fact. We do not know the cause of the fire. Terry, you are ready before a politician. You put a ready step before a politician step. Because your ready step gives you sincerity, honesty, truthfulness. You cannot come here and according to our law, a person, the criminal law, a person is considered innocent until proven guilty. You jump out with your president and 4 people guilty, calling them hooligans. Why if the investigation come and say it was electrical? Can the president go and withdraw his word, take back his word? Can you stay on LPR and say, okay, I'm sorry for what I said? We got to be sincere here, brother. We do not know the cause of the fire. I'm not talking on nobody.
All right.
We see people being burning. When anything comes, it comes with force. Things happen.
All right. You can stay on the line.
Yes. He talked about the executive mansion thing. The scene with the executive mansion thing happened over QC division. Come to find out it was electrical fault when they did all the investigation.
All right. You can stay on the line as an analyst. Elvis, let me hear you quickly.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Soul, and hello to the other panelists. Kathy, you just took all the words out of my mouth, my brother. Look, I was going to ask you the question myself. Who started the fire in the executive mansion that left it unusable for over a decade plus? Who started that fire? Electrical fault. How do you think many people's homes get burning like the St. Joseph? That expensive home that he had. Who started the fire? That he turned when left kerosene and burned out now? Electrical fault. Many homes in Liberia have gone through electrical faults. Faulty wiring. So why I think what Shafoko did was idiotic, making veiled threats, and then unfortunately those circumstances come to fruition. You're going to be, the spotlight is going to be on you. But definitely, I don't think any of us think that he went there as a cat burglar in the night, with black suit on, with ski mask, took kerosene, joystick, all over the place, and did matches and let on fire and ran back to a car and ran back home in the middle of the night or in the early morning. So definitely, let's use our minds here. The smoke that came from the executive from the Capitol building a few weeks ago, maybe even a week ago. Who started it? What did the government tell us? They said it was electrical wiring. It was an electrical fault. So is it unfeasible to think that there was other electrical fault in other parts of the building, combusted and caught on fire? So for me, I'm not going to say 100%. It's more likely that it was an electrical fault. So for people to sit on the platform and try to switch the blame to the CDC, because they have this narrative that CDC are inherently violent and they want to burn the country down, when CDC has shown restraint, when President Wade has called for peace and calm, and continuously the rights of civilians have been trampled upon, by this government. So it's just an easy scapegoat to say it's the CDC. See, they're trying to burn the country down.
Okay.
Let them do a thorough investigation. And if in fact Safoka was the one responsible, he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But let's be smart people on these panels and know that many fires in Liberia happen through faulty wiring, even in our executive mansion, like we saw in 2006, I think, and it can definitely happen in our Capitol building. But thank you for taking my call. All
right, you can stay. You contribute most of the time. Let me go back to the last few here. Sissy, what will pull this here, because this is very serious. It is unprecedented. It's the very first time. Nobody likes it. Anybody who likes their country, we just talking about maybe should we have done something extra to avoid this? No reason, no justification for whatever happened. This sort of blame game will always be there, and nobody likes it. And that's the thing. Our people, politicians, Africans, it's not like here. When people they run here, they come out say, "I am sorry." I never saw that happening with our politicians. They're always defiant and the right to be on the right side of history. Should this investigation here to put everything at rest? Should UOL ask for some sort of foreign intervention? Foreign intervention, I mean, ask for external help to really know what went wrong, to bring in all of their expertise, so that one side can come tomorrow, the cake was manufactured in this direction, that direction, to put this to rest.
Absolutely not. So why every time will government be asking other people to come to give them credibility? So what happens the next time we go to court? We'll bring in foreign judges to say, because we want us to say the judge ruled against us? Absolutely not. The government should look at its capacity, and if it determines that it lacks that capacity, then they ask, but not because we want to show credibility to both sides or to all sides. And look, let me say something here. Wilton Keter, our correspondent for PNN, Propaganda News Network, that you are here today asking people to show proof when you were here accusing the executive of funding people living at ALJA, and the proof is laughable. But let's go back to President Bwaka talking about hooligans. He wasn't talking about, he said any act of hooliganism will not be allowed. He was speaking in context with your failed protest, where I saw John J. back there with the blood that looked like it was pink. I think like AR blood this time, where when you look at the blood spatter, it doesn't even make any scientific sense. That was the point the president was speaking to. So sometimes we have to stop this propaganda, just for propaganda's sake. And to hear you all talk about the last time there was a fire at the Capitol, the police came out after the investigation to say it was faulty wiring, and you believe that. So today, when the police come out and say it looked like arson, you don't want to believe that part? So on one side, you want to believe it, that they came out and said that it was there. And you say, yeah, that's good. But when they say nice and arson, you say, no, it can't be arson, right? Because all of a sudden, some people's houses are burned down before for electrical fault. Therefore, any fire that happened in Liberia has to be for electrical fault. I think the question we should be asking the chief of police is, what is the intelligence and the evidence that he's basing his conclusion on? Versus running to say the man has nothing. You haven't asked for it. I don't think Gregory Coleman will be in a position to say such a stuff if he didn't have any evidence. And people that have been saying why is it that Gregory Coleman and the police were not at the police station. Yesterday, there was a press conference after this thing that the people did where they say it was a protest where we got AR blood all over the place. Gregory Coleman hosted a press conference and they were asking why was the police at the Capitol. He said whenever they receive a threat, they go to the Capitol. Even people from the Speaker Kofa blog were saying that the police had invaded the Capitol and the police needed to leave. So 1 minute you want the police to leave the Capitol and the other minute you wanted to protect the Capitol. Which one would they do? So we have to be very fair and truthful when we talk these things. There is no vehicle that got us to where we got. It is an act of cowardice. It is an act of the lack of intellectual power to explain to people how people should come to your side. And so when it gets to a point where people lack just the basic human ability to discuss issue, you go to violence. The burning down of the Capitol has no vehicle at all there. Whether Joseph Walker sided with one side and the Supreme Court sided on the other side and everything else, we have had in our country before, just most recently under the CDC, a ruling of the Supreme Court in the case of Brandon Samuka, who won an election in Lofa County, beat CDC. And because CDC could not take that, they went to court. And when the Supreme Court ruled, Musa Dean opined, he gave an interpretation and they enforced the Supreme Court ruling, and that was on the separate branch of government. So let's be fair with one another. We shouldn't pretend like we just woke up yesterday and started yesterday.
Okay, so yeah, Terry, and this is what I say. You politicians, now you're giving a big hand clap because all of you in the tendency of defending your own alligators. Yes, quite correct. What his name, Commissioner Coleman to say every other thing. Once I was saying this, it's the same struggle, power struggle. We get this on our side. No, we don't have this and all of that. Now, eventually, the Capitol was sealed off. What I didn't hear, maybe you can get me to the point, and Mr. Jackson, what I didn't hear, his men were there. I don't know whether they come there or just stay there and in the evening overnight they go home and come back. That's still yet to be explained, but the Capitol was potentially sealed off. So if security men, armed men, police officers, which it is their responsibility to protect lives and property, in this case, they were protecting the first branch of government. Great. How come? Who intruded? Was there any compromise with any of the folks on guard, the connive with other people? I didn't hear anybody tell that, okay, we have maybe 1-2 police officer or one of the security being brought in for questioning while we were there. So is it fair for us to ask him to tell us what were these men? Were they on guard? What happened? What went wrong? Where this breach came from?
Yeah, Mr. So I think since you try to be very.
I'm asking you my question. Don't go. This is how you guys try to deflect people. No, I'm not going to get. He wants to focus. I will call Safogo.
I tell you.
You can call focus whatever. According you, just speak. I know Loma or DC and everything. I'm serious here. Terry, do not dodge my questions. I need a definitive answer. I am saying. Yeah, hold on. Let me repeat. Maybe you didn't hear me. This is how you guys behave here, and sometimes you guys myself can fall apart. I'm asking, come on, get a guts to tell us today they're putting your $5,000 reward. I should think the first person that should be even brought into questioning the commander, assigned that in control of these men. What happens? How that bidding was somebody enter, whether they enter or they throw it? How many men was there? What went wrong? That the person now bringing $5,000? Come on.
But Mr. So, what we need to understand is that do you know whether if those people have already been briefed and investigated already? You don't even know. You think police come and tell you about everything that they're investigating and everybody? The man is not going to expose everything to you.
Not to me.
But the problem is
he was specific on some things today. So
yeah, that's the information. Yeah, they may not go and get you the means where you will find. So these are professional people. They know what they're doing. All right, and he's not going to get you lead on the case because he's already in a insulated investigation. So obviously he's giving you what he's able to give you for now for you to munch on. So let the investigators do their work. And what we need to understand is that the Capitol have staffers, security people that are responsible for that place. And I want to believe they are the ones that are ready on the investigation right now.
The staffer don't sleep there.
What?
They go to work, they come to work and go home.
No. But it's still the
they have access. You can access.
What I'm
Yeah,
saying is the staff force.
so Mr.
I know
So,
they get capital security, they get staff force. The staff force, they go to work.
yeah, I'm talking
What-
about the capital security. The people who sleep to the daily. They're not the police. The ones who have keys to go there, open a place. Because according to information, they say the fire started around 6:02 this morning. So that was enough time. So what happened is that there are security that are taking care of that big building. They got the key. And with all this rigmarole going on in the house, people have taken sides. So thereby, there can be negotiation with other guys from the minority black. And I still want to speculate because from what I saw on Mr. Honorable Kufa page, from what I saw, those dog whistles he began to blow on his page, I lost credibility in his leadership. And from ongoing, you will not hear me calling him speaker. Even though I'm not going to call Richard Kuhn speaker, but I will not call him speaker Kofa again because I expected him to behave like a speaker and follow the law. He had guys that he could not control. And I've been saying it from time immemorial. I said Speaker Kofa need to resign. Because if he do not resign, there will be people that will use this thing. They will use him to cause chaos. I've been saying it here. And these are the reasons why we've been telling him to resign. Not that we hate him. Like what Mr. Jackson said, you 43, the majority who voted you, they say they don't want you. You can't have quorum. The people passing budget on it. Then you say you follow the law.
It's not a matter of they do not want you. What we are saying here, there's a process involved if you do not want people. Now, this is a very dangerous precedent you guys setting here. But let me go to the 612. I'll make
Not us setting them.
Let me
Use it to remove a
let me
whole
just
city.
let me add to your question.
For
Answer,
justice.
612 number to 103 now. Are you there?
Yes, how are you?
Sure. What's the name and where you calling from?
Man.
I'm calling from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Just what you said, Mr. So, is what I'm about to say just now. For the Speaker for Nanti Kofa, according to Unity Party, he is ex-speaker. But if they say that they have 49 people that already moved me, why is it that the 49 people cannot stay in front of Nanti Kofa say, I, John Brown, I signed the people 1, I, Sarah Paul, I signed the people 2, and they can't to 49, and everybody see it live. Then we know they move for that because we can get from the background say we can't for the non-signature, we can't for the non-people that I agree, we need to move him. I leave that one. But I want to say sorry to the Liberian people yesterday that got wounded, that property got damaged, everything. I want to say sorry. But for the fact today, Mr. So, I will not judge or not just jump to conclusion. So our focus here is still July 2nd, and the incident happened this morning. I would like to ask the Liberian people that say that Safoko is the one that caused the fire, that Safoko should be arrested with one truck full of army people. If, just in case, something happened, today when he passed away, should we hold what the police said? Mark Sabatier? Because Mark Sabatier make that he went live, you were already calling Yakakova and threatening it like months ago. So if something happened to Yakakova today, he died today, should we call Mark Sabatier and say, UK Yakakova? We all need to be careful. Let it go to the For me, he said 6 months ago, I don't have no problem calling him, says I come to the police station, I want to ask you why you made a statement here in lawyers again. But you say full truck full of iron men. I have to say you can already found him guilty. Because the picture they showed today, which means he's guilty. Did they find out where was Safoko last night? Did they find out where was Safoko 6:09 this morning? The security that at the police at the Capitol building I worked last night to this morning, where were they? They didn't see Sanfoko at the Capitol building that they had to send a whole truck to go arrest him. We need to be very careful in that world because this war that came in that world, Mr. So, I lost a lot of people. Now how the war started in that world. And for common thing they say, I stood up and I saw because the people knew what do our in ways because the several family knew what do. That don't even know, they never saw him. They killed all 7 of them. Had some Sunday because they see pointing finger. We need to be very careful. Politics are dangerous things. Now, all me, I got to say that people, we need to be careful. We need not to be pointing finger. We need not to just jump to conclusion. We need to respect our people that will do the judgment. And the people go and say that I seen and they find all the fingerprint and they are on the scene, then we go to jail. But we got to be careful how we point the finger. Only I want to say that people, my family ain't down there. Thank you.
Okay. Can I come in, to your question?
When you're talking about the
yeah, let me just 1 second. Let me quick changes here because Terry and his message are here trying to elevate my migraine here this evening, but we will have a conversation. Yeah, bear with me. I'm trying to change my mic.
You gotta throw us under the bus again. You have to do that one.
So, Mr. Hello. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Before you come here, let me ask this question, and I will give it to Sissy, Keto, and that of Terry. I'm wondering here because per our Lord, the initiator of any impeachment proceeding, for example, the president, it begins with the lower house. The Senate serves as a jury and so forth, blah, 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 go. With this sort of majority here, the court is a set majority, taking this 43 now to be like a magic number, which of course is not, because constitutionally, you need to have that 49 for a successful impeachment proceeding to take place. Are they saying tomorrow?
They're not impeaching for nothing. They're removing him. They're not impeaching him.
I'm talking. I'm not. If you remove, then open it up so other people will contest. I'm just saying something. So tomorrow, if 43 comes out from the lower house and they say we want to remove the president, they should remove the president and put in the vice president, or just grab anybody, come and put their left hand up, right hand up, and to be the next president. That's what they're talking, because impeachment is initiated.
You have to impeach the president. You don't have to impeach the speaker.
No, what? You don't have to do what?
You have to impeach the president. You don't have to impeach the speaker. You can remove the speaker, not impeach the speaker.
That is inconclusive. Because
no, those are two different things. Those are two different things.
The speaker has, in order for that speaker to be removed, yes, to get that 43, whatever the number it is, you're removing him. Why you didn't open it up to you're removing and just put anybody you want to put there because you have that number?
I just want to correct the terminology. They're not impeaching the speaker, because to impeach me, that you rightfully said there has to be a jury, which is the Senate. So there's an impeachment process. They're removing the speaker, not impeaching him.
What's the basis? Was the process is required to remove him? Was that process?
That is not the point. The point here is that those languages, the impeachment and removal, are two different things.
And those are they are very much
very different constitutional issues.
I strongly feel the Constitution is being tampered with. But let me just come to Pa Jackson.
Yeah.
Is that how we're going to run our country now? People just put group of people put together anytime. Oh, we don't want them. We want to remove them. We're not impeaching them. Leaving have big constitutions and cave and say all of us might have an overnight dinner or supper.
Well, this is where I feel that where there is a statement, there should be, an honorable branch of government to come in, especially where the executive have that power to go back, into the judiciary law. There's a statement. My government is stalled. We cannot get it 43. Can we go, to see what kind of method that we can use? Because even if he have the, the minority, he can't have a quorum. So how do we move forward? Are we going to say because we wait until we get 49 or until, we have a sitting? They have already made up their mind. They don't want him anymore. Are we going to just stay there until we say we're looking for constitutional power? Then we're going to, you know what we're going to happen? We're going to have another more building burned down again. So it's not a bit. I don't want us to. Yes, I'm not lying to you, because what happened is I don't want my answer, to embolden other people. But let's just go back to your question you asked. Why was it, that when there should have been a security? And you understand the building, it started burning around 6 something. I think 6:02 or 6:02 or something like that. Now nobody had access to the Capitol building more than the security that are there and the staffer. And I feel that these are the two people. Nobody will go up there to start a fire without anybody guarding them. And you understand? So whether it's Gregory Cuomo or whosoever, I'm looking
You
forward to
gotta
that
maintain your.
investigation.
Sorry, 1 second, Pajas. Please maintain your background. There was noise coming in. That's what I turned it off. Please. Okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
I don't have anything here. I don't know, but
No, not you. No, not from your end. At the caller. Not you. Sorry.
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I feel that one of those things that they need to do is to make sure that they get an independent investigator to see whether it was an accident or it was an electrical storm. I hate to speculate on that, because what happened is I have no documentation. I'm a normal person, because number 2 and number 1 will not lie. But in politics, they say can lie more than I say.
Okay. All
So
right.
this is where I stand.
Wow, way over the time says. Anyway, because I had a first guest. Okay, let me go to the person and then come back to you guys on the line. That will be our last caller here. 203 number 2578. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Saturday calling from Connecticut.
Okay, Connecticut, man. Let's hear you.
Actually, him there. Mr. So, I just wanted to say, I've been listening to you guys a little bit, but I just wanted to say, actually what Brother Terry and my brother Cece Goya is seeing over there, the coin is two-sided. Why if people would say it is the government that staged the burning of the Capitol building, because international community stop keeping an eye on them, that the removal of Funanti Kofa is not legal? Why if people start saying that? So we have to take turn with pointing finger. According to the first guy that was on the show, say that place has to be treated as a crime scene. There's not a lot of people supposed to go there for the place to be correctly investigated. Then you can come on to say, hey, it is so and so person that carry on the burning of the Capitol building, but you cannot accuse people where you don't have proof, because other people who say it is the government that says that burning. Thank you.
Okay. Evans, let's get a last point to come and wrap up before I go back to the live field.
All right, thank you, Mr. So I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotions, I think the likes of, Sister and Jerry, who seems to have forgotten their moral compasses to say that they can justify the speaker being removed through strong arming him out of office or using gangster method to try to remove him. I mean, these are people we respect on the platform, listen to them. Even though everything, I don't like him, I'm always attacking him, but I listen, and there are times where you have some profound insights on the issues. And of course, Mr. Goya, being an educated man, has deep understandings of math and other things. So when we listen to you guys, we look at you to be somebody who's going to call it down the middle. And you're not going to lose anything by saying the truth. So when you are making the point, Mr. So, that this guy should be removed by the process that is outlined within your own rules, even though, like Mr. Goya rightfully says, it's not an impeachment per se, because you don't have to have a trial and a conviction, but at the same time, you didn't meet the threshold of the 49 amendments that's required to remove him. So any other means to try to remove him by suffocating him and taking away certain powers, that he enjoys as the speaker, only for us to then turn around and say, well, right now you lost all credibility, you lost all respect. They don't have the numbers to remove you, but for the sake of the country and to and to not have shame face, as we say in Liberia, just resign. And people who are calling for these kinds of things are openly spitting in the face of the laws and the processes of our country. Mr. Goy, I'm sure, God forbid, if they want to remove you from your position, the great position that you hold, there are certain processes that they have to go through. They can't even just fire you. They might have to have a board review. They might have to have certain process. I don't know what it is, but I guarantee you know what it is exactly. Anytime they infringe on any one of those rights that you have, to a fair hearing or a fair trial, whatever it is, you're going to get a lawyer. You're going to fight it because you know that they're doing it the wrong way. So let's call for the processes in our country to be respected and to be followed thoroughly. If not, we're living in a banana republic, and people who are educated and people who have good minds should always advocate for processes to be done right in our country. Forget the political part of it, because everything this is a political fight. And if the CDC caught us that man, now we'll show them the real men because we have the power, and we're going to strong arm them and bully them out of power. That's the wrong way to do it. And if we keep doing this, we might have conflicts down the line, and that's not what we want, at all in our country. But thank you for having me on.
Okay.
It was a pleasure to be the platform.
All right. This conversation is going to be will go on for a while. So definitely we'll be having this conversation here. The good thing is that people are allowed to express their view, their opinions as to how this thing is going, to agree, disagree. So let's wrap up here for the rest of the evening here with this question, and then you can put in your closing statement as well. With all of this hula balada is ongoing, if the speaker is fanatical, still says, well, I'm not going to resign officially, let them go ahead to do what they're doing. What they are doing to deal with the speaker in speaker now, Richard Cohn, what it means to our political process. Keto, I know you just came on, you are online here. Is there a special statement you want to make before we come to the closing one? Or you just want to
I think I'll make a special statement. It's unfortunate that that we want to respect democracy. At the same time, we are supporting people who are trying to destroy or circumvent the laws of our land. How is it that our constitution say 2/3, that is 49 people, should give a speaker due process and then vote to get the 2/3 to remove him from being a speaker? How is it that we cannot prevail? We cannot force those 43 or 40 lawmakers to adhere to the Constitution? Why are we defending them? Why are we even giving them the right to say because this speaker does not have quorum, so the other people should be right? Tomorrow, if another 43 people get together and say we don't want a speaker, but the table is turned, maybe it is not United Party government that CC support, that what he need, the Reverend Terry support or other people support, maybe it will be another government, maybe it will be Taiwan Congo government, maybe it will be or who government, whoever government. Are we going to support the same?
Government.
Are we going to support the same? No, on a serious note, because the way I look at things, I look at it logically, brother. Let me
That's
honest.
why you get fala.
I look at it logically. I look at it logically. We are talking about Constitution, but we're saying we will forget about our Constitution. We should throw it away. We should give people who are illegally and blatantly violating our Constitution, we're giving them a right. We're giving them a right. I don't understand it. Today, it is fanatical from the party you do not support. When the table is turned, will you speak the same language? This is the reason why our country is not moving forward, because we are not sincere to ourselves. We put loyalty to people, then we put loyalty behind country. These people got 6 years.
You are reaction of all.
I was. Aglaire,
Let,
you used the
let
word.
me finish what he's saying.
Aglaire, the mathematician used the word you was or you were. Reaction. I'm no more reaction. This is the reason why you're with me. You're saying you're doing it right. And you're doing it even double time wrong.
Okay.
Double time wrong. Let's be honest here, man.
Okay.
Let's be honest. So
That just
you want me to close? You want me to do my closing?
Yeah, just
You
do
want me
your
to,
question one time.
you want me to do
At
my
least
closing?
a minute,
Look,
that's sufficient.
yeah, I mean, on a serious note, yeah, I think we should allow people to come and do investigation. I remember President Weah did the same thing. I frowned at him, and I said on this show, when the two people died in the car, there was no investigation done. President Weah came up and said they were doing boyfriend girlfriend being in the car. Everybody frowned at him. Opposition, ruling, all kind of frown at President Weah's statement. This president, the fire that place was hot. The place was an inferno, according to the journalists. It was hot. Nobody could go in there to do investigation to find out what the cause of fire. We saw and monitor that thing from in the morning up to the time President Bouaka arrived. That place was still hot. Nobody could go in that place to do any investigation to come out to say it was arsenal for them to point finger at other person or start the president to come out and make the statement because he had already turned the whole investigation in the direction of opposition. And
Okay.
that's not fair.
All right. The word today's word not fair. Look at my finger there, they equal. Yeah, some people get some people get long fingers, some people get short fingers. Okay, so let's see here. Pajasi?
yes.
So what happens if right now I'm not sure whether he have access to his usual office or I don't know. If he doesn't resign officially and it remains as it is right now, what does that tell us the kind of democracy, the society that we want? Divided country?
Well, the country is already being divided, looking at what is, perceived, in the eyes of people, it's very glaring, for us to say it's not divided. Because at this moment, we have a different group of people who are claiming, and if you listen to somebody, the podcast in Liberia, you will tell you that it is divided. I think 2 days ago, I heard Milton Tiaje is willing, to take Rachel Kuhn, to Sando. As his speaker. So you see how division is. Major Tiaje, ask anybody who knows something. He have on OKFM.
Really?
Yes,
Yes.
that's true.
Yeah.
So
the one see what Liberia is a country that is noted or rewarding bad. So people, if you want to be nice, you want to be influenced, do bad thing.
Okay.
All right. And that's the same man who are talking about them on the senator and they got to bribe people.
Fine. So you see how the division is growing, among people, understand? Among the the people from CDC side, there are some CDC group who didn't like Kufa. They too have been punished by CDC on the other end. So it's creating a lot of division. This is where I'm coming from. I say, look, all these things require a leadership to come in now, or else we might eventually, denigrate ourselves to the level of Haiti. And who's going to pay the price? You and myself who are here, we're going to pay the price. When the price of air tickets start going up, when the price of people insurance, that going to Liberia start going up, then you will know really what it means for you and myself. At the same time, your relative will start calling you every day. You understand? Look at your, and your same way, how much you spend, to send to Liberia. So people, for me, I calculate these things, and I don't want to just make a statement, to just satisfy, political party. I have no interest in political parties, so I hate to make, speculative remarks. Especially when I wanted to fact check this guy who said 6 months ago, Safoko, they didn't make that 6 months ago. Check, Sakovo's statement, Sonaku Saga King, from somewhere from, I think from October to November, that issue when he went.
Foko, that was July 2nd. I have the copy when he said that when LPRC managing to direct, it all came from this whole LPRC, what they call something. In fact, I think I have it.
It was 6 months ago, Pop. It was 6 months ago.
6 months. It was the
Yeah,
time
it was
you were
about
saying that.
it was about the LPRC boss taking, I think, $1.5 million from the account that he was not authorized to take, and they were having this section and they wanted to send it to how you call it, committee room, and Safogo got mad, say it shouldn't go to committee room, it should stay within the section so they can discuss it. And the speaker sent it to section room, to committee room. He said he got mad at the speaker.
Actually getting a Kofa.
He actually have made other supportive statement in line with that same violence since the Kofa thing started.
Okay, just check that from there. Also, who came on, to say it was an electrical fault? Is it a government position? Because nobody, when there's a fire, there's a special investigator that go there to make sure whether it's done, whether it's a combustible fire, whether it was done through, and stand arson. They must be able to investigate. It's not politician that come on, to say, oh, we saw somebody, something. Look at the place where it's coming from, and look at the fire, look at the smoke. And I just don't want to make no kind of speculation, because if you're on NPR, I want us to maintain the integrity of this station, because it's one of the original stations, podcasts. And all the flying by night are just coming up. And this is why when I come here, I don't just want to make speculative statement. But, moving forward, how do we move forward now? It needs somebody to come out to say, look, Funati Kofa, how do you call it, Richard Kuhn, enough is enough. We're going to make sure we put a group together, let them have something to say and do and move forward. Right now, they have no office, and I don't know how they're going to meet. So let me just leave it with the team, and from there we all can discuss from that.
They will find the bidding straight there. That one, they will find way. Okay, Ketra, not Ketra.
Yeah.
No, my man. Mr. Collins.
And I want to believe that I'm putting this thing squarely on the shoulders of Honorable Kofa. I still call him Honorable because he's a representative. I respect him. But from tonight, I'm going to take that speakership because I don't think he warrants. I'm putting the responsibility on him, not to say that he directly did it, but to say that it is because of him. He is his fault. And some of the things he has been writing.
Only him?
No, it's his fault.
I'm the interviewer. When people ask, I have to be able to tell the audience. I want my audience to
interviewer again.
The man already finished causing me tonight. Not easy.
I'm listening to some key words. So if I need clarity, I don't want to put a slamming ballot. Go ahead, Pastor.
The man and I'm tear me apart in the comment section. But what but what I want to say, Mr. So, is that I put it on him. This is squarely on him. Because and I think it's a strategy to compel to put fear, to ring fear. And one of the things they're not understanding is you're not in power. You don't have the control over the military. You don't have control. It's not like doing President Weah, former President Weah, where he had control. You can only do this kind of thing when you have absolute control over power. You don't have that. So how are you going to do it? Your strategy is not going to put fear. Maybe your strategy, you're thinking that when you do that, the Supreme Court will be afraid to rule in your favor and all the kind of thing. I think he shot himself in the leg because everybody in the country can clearly see, and this is the thing that's going to hurt him more. There are minority members that are now going to start coming to the majority black because they're going to start seeing that the honorable man is not proceeding correctly. And if you start, if through your position is leading to people burning down the building and all the kind of thing, because Mr. So this is not a coincidence, and we can't be saying that it's fire or brain, all the kind of thing. This cannot be a coincidence, especially in the joint chamber where the majority black sits, and we have been seeing the level of violence done over the period of time. with the likes of Melvin Cole and other guys, banging, wasting tear gas in the joint chamber, breaking the chairs. This is not new. The problem is the media have not been discussing it. The media only have been one-sided. And that is why when I saw Colette showed something that I was very shocked that the media is not running with it. This guy opened the book wherein there were journalists on the supplementary payroll and also on the CSA payroll, including the wife of the honorable man Melvin Cole. Is alleged. I would say alleged because I don't know what kind of a document he had in his hand. I can't verify it from way here, but he showed it on live television. And my amazement is that particular news is not in the media. That is how the media is compromised. And he point out journalists' name on the payroll.
So,
including the wife of Honorable Melvin Cole.
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson,
and my surprise, is that
Mr. Jackson,
this news
network is credible.
This news is not in the media.
Terry saying here.
What?
Listen to what Terry saying.
You of all people should not talk about credibility. You know the kind of false who
Mr. Jackson just talk about this network. It's a credible network.
You are the most propaganda.
Yeah.
We talk about that.
I'm not asking you that Terry asking. I call his name and say Terry. You see, and that's the frustrations on the part of our officials. I listened to that interview and I saw him displaying a sheet.
Right.
I don't know whether you are using some sort of magnet eyes to identify. Yes, I start calling name, but this is the sort of managing crisis thing we are talking about. We need to avoid managing crisis. He is a member of the House of Representatives. I don't know his specific rank, but if he sees those kind of things going on, he shouldn't wait. There should be a crisis, and then when journalists confront him, you on lazy. That's not how you address it.
But the man just took over as rules and order. I know rules and order.
Right before that interview, he got a lazy.
But yeah, the men that had these things, but it was not in their control. Yeah, it was not in their control. Now it's in his control. I think D-Flow saying he got that information. But my thing is,
on this platform,
Mr. So, the thing here is the media have the information, but they will not carry it.
This man
there are key journalists. Let me finish back. There are key journalists then in the country. That is the reason why when you wake up in the morning, you just see all kind of tabata news. You know, hey, no tea. You know, you can't even understand because majority of the journalists in the country, they are on the payroll of these lawmakers, and they are influencing the media to carry the narrative. Because you know what? Even United Party people don't know the importance of the media. That is same with CDC. They don't value the media. So anybody can influence the media for them. They don't understand that the one who control the airway control the minds of the people. And that is the ignorance that lies within the purview, that are not taking advantage of this opportunity. And I thought that was something that up to today, the media refused to highlight those information. And Melvin Cole's wife receives $800. She on the payroll, supplementary payroll, and the CSA payroll. So, Mr. So many things going on with need to unfold.
All right, that's it. So I hope the rendezvous with Melvin Cole it remains as constant for Sunday, and we want to have the.
Oh, you're bringing his Sunday. Oh, I've been putting Chakra in the something.
So here are a few things. I don't know why we're getting away from the major issue of today to whether Fonatif Kofa is still speaker or not speaker. What I'm concerned about is the burning down of the Capitol. And the police director, unlike when arms were smuggled into Liberia in containers, and we saw police during the CDC time hitting down people's roof and holding guns with their bare hands, we don't see a contamination of the crime scene. Nobody has shown me anything of such. The police director called in people of interest to have a conversation with. So why are people running up and down about if Safoko said something before and the police director feel like there are connecting situations that leads to an opportunity to have a conversation, he has to call him in. And by the way, Wilton, it was not a battalion. 2-4 is not a battalion. Last time I checked. Right? Let's stop this baloney of propaganda. Okay? And for you to sit down here and talk about Wilton, for people like you to say we should stop being about individuals, but you are a reaction, that is a court.
CEO, correct the man. I'm an independent.
No, you can't correct me. You're speaking pro. I didn't correct you.
Correct
You
the man. I'm
call
an
me
independent
out.
CEO.
You are speaking aside down. Being a reaction is a court.
The message he has converted to independent.
And
then man, the very stupid when he started when he came, he said people start giving characterizing people like that.
You don't want to come and in your problem or say that money my baby. So please leave me alone.
Go ahead.
For my brother from Minnesota, Elvis, I appreciate you. I know you're trying to take a jab at me and all that other stuff. On this network, Terry can bear me witness. When this situation started, I've always said that the so-called majority, if I joke about them, make fun about them, I call Zigzag DJ going to play ALJA and all the other pieces. So mine has not been about taking side in whether for Natif is a speaker or not a speaker. Okay? When the Supreme Court opined, when the Supreme Court ruled, and the Justice Minister, because of the executive law of Liberia, chapter 22, allows him to interpret that, just like Musa Dean interpreted the Supreme Court ruling when it came down to the local senatorial race. The president can go with his Justice Minister interpretation and say, Kun is my speaker. That does not call for people to be that debasing to go down and burn state property. And so it's laughable that people sit there and say, some of us we are changing. We've never changed. You are just not hearing us. You are just not hearing us. I've been on this platform over and over saying that the process has to be laid out. The Supreme Court told you they cannot do for you what you're supposed to do for yourself. And so you recently to the Supreme Court to file a bill of information. Let's wait for that. I have not pointed a finger at Fonatif, but some of you were on the pointing the finger that the government, some people living in ALJA, they didn't get money to live there on their own, so it has to be the government that funding it because we ain't getting no money to fund it too, right? So when you come with that kind of logic and Terry hit your back, now all of a sudden you want people to say, "Oh, show up proof," and you are dealing in falsehood in alternative facts. You're living in alternative facts world. Right? So it's falling. But let me tell you this. President Donald J. Trump did not have to march to the Capitol on January 6th to be held liable for what happened at the Capitol on January 6th for incendiary communication. What does it mean to remember the Alamo? You are referencing the 1836 battle. If we all understand what that means, what happened in Texas? Why did he take it down? Why? So for me, I don't see anywhere that Gregory Cuomo has erred. I think we allow the process to continue. And for people who are now saying that it's an electrical fire, allow the police to say it's electrical fire. The first one that started, you trusted him when he said it was electrical. If he comes back this time and says, I also trust him also. You can't be picking here and there.
Okay. That's the beauty of conversations on this network. All of these people, they all have interests. Some of them had their party left them down the road. So they have become the talking heads, and that is good. That's democracy. That is why it's all about. Terry, I want to thank you. Pat Jackson, let me just play this here. Hopefully okay, let's see here. This is the Hold on. Is it audible? Hold on one second. Is it audible?
I'm hearing it.
Nothing here can stand the agenda for the because I compromise. And I will tell you, Lord, gentlemen, you can see in the journalists from a couple just a minute. Explain to us why are you actually angry? You are following section. What actually happened? The LPR-TV boss, he tampered with the law. He tampered with the law. He took money that he was not authorized to take by law. And he came, it was compromised by the legislature. So who are the people depending on now? Who are the people depending on? Who are we depending on? It was compromised. She has talking about Liberia. No, Liberia is above everything. Liberia is above United Party. Liberia is above CDC. Liberia is above ANC. And my friends above any political party. Angry emotionally. I'm emotional. After you got after you put on a special committee, why were you? Because we need witnesses to make sure that this process and the law is respected. That's what we want. You're threatening to burn down the chamber. Yes. Why? We cannot prioritize the Liberian people's interests, for which we were sent here from the 73 districts. Find that session. You think you do that? I'm very serious about it. I'm telling you that if the Liberian people, JFK got issue, even our staff was at Capitol building, there is no bus to take them home, there is no bus to bring them, there is no health protection for them, no insurance here for them. That local JFK, that local redemption hospital, that local the teachers, are we located at the University of Liberia? The children don't have chairs to sit in at the University of Liberia. That local public schools, Tottenham and other public schools in Liberia. So we are not taking into consideration. For that reason, your police are corrupt. They have wish of nickel pool shit with friends. I'm telling you, now we're going down this section. If these people don't work for the Liberia, what they say about me actually, we will follow the process like we did. You saw when they are professionally prepared to ask those professional questions. That this car break the laws of the country. And when you break the laws of the country, there are consequences. They can win. What evidence do you have if you want to hold them back? You were there. You were there. You saw one where you show the evidences we have. You heard those legal questions that the speaker was asking. How can you circumvent the Constitution to one paper? How can you do that? The minister said the PMN law that was cheap. Read Article 34D.
Okay.
Are you reading Article 34D?
So, this is where we are as a people, as a nation. This is a clear indication of the sort of fragile society that we live in. People, emotions, sentiment, and that's the danger. We went down this road before, and this is why we're calling for maximum restraint, because whether we like it or not, people process their reaction to things vary. The way you're going to do it, the way you're going to handle it. Mr. X, Mr. Y will not do that. And this is where we need to have this political tolerance. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for this fascinating conversation. Hopefully we will hear from the IG, who are the intruders, where were the security, whether there was a breach, whether other security, whether somebody was planted within the security, whether there was a collaborator, employees or employee or whatever from Capitol building. Hopefully ultimately we will get to know what it is. There are so many questions yet to be answered. If the place was sealed out, how can this, if it was electrical, we'll wait and see the outcome. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hopefully you'll be back here again, and we'll have this.
Liver ran away tonight. He and Mr. Bacon.
Yeah.
They're having Bacon is having a security meeting. They're recruiting Bacon to go do a private investigator. to be the private investigator to go to the place. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much and have a pleasant.
Thank you, man. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Friday,
That's the same thing.
you are president. Okay.
We'll see you again.
All right. Okay, let me see. Yeah. All right, guys. This is how we want to end tonight's program. We want to say thank you so much. Your comments, your tweets, your interaction. Oh, we're back on. What happened in Liberia today? Said the message. Back on. Why you didn't come here to come tell us? You won't be on the line to start tweeting as well. All right, but again, by God's willing, hopefully the Labour will be here Friday. I want to be back here at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. ULAT National President, Mr. Keita, going to be my guest. And if all goes well, it remains constant per our conversation today. Representative Josiah Mervyn Cole will be my guest, special guest on Sunday in the program, The Examiner. I'm going to be here. We also sent a message to the other side, a group called itself Majority Bloc, Minority Majority. That's how the country is divided. And there's a need that there must be a big ball in the room to kind of seal this up, because if it doesn't, I say here, just what yesterday, and we got to this point, it will be dangerous. That country, people in that country, their way of doing things is different. Whether people ask them to do it or not, their loyalty is not to the country, it's to their political godfathers. Yeah. And that's why you see people are flipping here and there. Today, they were this party, but they can see their way, they jump to this party. So the sort of inconsistencies, unbalanced, unstable, indecisive in their decisions, they are not willing to make any sacrifice to get something done. If they can't see the sunlight, they are not there. They are not for it. So it's not, they don't have the country at heart. If they do, they will be having a second thought. Politicians find common ground. So we see here, even the Republicans and the Democrats, how terrible, how bad it is. They make deals, they cut deals. It's all about it. You got to make those sort of political sacrifices, give and take. Take this and I have this. And this is where some of us were coming from, to make sure to have avoided this situation, because we went down this road. When people are disenchanted, when people feel disrespected, you will say, well, it doesn't worry, but that's it. But how other people process, that's how other people reaction becomes in society, in our community, in our neighborhoods. People do things, if they can't handle it, they react whatever way they can react. And Liberia is not in isolation to what we are saying. And that's the worst place, because people, what that country went through, much is not being done to heal, to have this sort of proper integrations of people that were badly infected, that were affected, that were trauma in different forms, shapes, and stuff like that. Yes, you might say it over 10, 15 years now, but whatever it is, that's true. But do they have, we are in denial of people having serious psychological issues. And the politicians has managed successfully to keep these people down, to not to open their eye, not to allow them to make informed decisions. So wherever the wind blows, this is where they go. And they act before they think. So it is the responsibility of the men and women in this building to be wise, to cut deals, to make political deals. And this is where some of us was coming from, that the president, the executive, should use their political persuasion to say, you know what, let the process be comprehensive. That wasn't done. And it's one of the reasons that get us to be to this point. Whatever the day, is that a right thing? No, but that's the genesis of all of this conversation that we are having, because people feel they were disrespected. And we saw that happening. We saw that play out and people arguing it, and we saw it in real time, because certain group people felt they were alienated, they were not treated right, there were injustices. They were not respected. Their human value were not taken into considerations. They were demeaned, and what happens? They resorted into violence. And there are guns in that country. They know that. People go overnight, people in bed, and what sort of normal country that is that? In your house overnight, and somebody going over your house trying to remove the zinc to come inside to get whatever they left in there. And when the poverty is high in any country, you will always see this type of violence at its highest height. And I have no doubt people from different sections of society who just have nothing to do with it, just jump and do things that they want to do. So when I say protest, they go there for daily dollar and cents. There is no ideology. And I said that. How many of our protests, where do you see, they don't present anything anyways? That has been the traditions of our country. And it will continue to live like that. And all of these people that are protecting their own alligators, when it happens yesterday, people fix account, they restructure the crown saying, fix whatever they can fix. They come today, they make reference, what didn't happen yesterday is happening today, so everything is at equilibrium. That is very, very dangerous for the country. And if the laws of the country will not be enforced, when people begin to slice the rules or the laws of the country and make it work for a certain group and not work for the other group to disproportionate people to the rule of law, it's a country that is heading for disaster. So we got to be very careful. You can only govern successfully when you have a peaceful country. No one, no matter who you are, we saw the child stealer, the Samuel Doe, and government can do a lot of things. So we got to wait the need to complain. We saw the MMD Franz Zamington case when it was orchestrated by then, the Samuel Doe government. We have seen many in other places where governments do things to implicate people and opposition do things to politicians are very strategic in getting things done. And this, hopefully, there will be a full skills investigation that will be complete, that will be comprehensive, that will be public, and that people will know. And whoever, no matter who you are, if it was done, those people must be held accountable. At the same time, the police authority, they need to come clean. If the police told us that this building was sealed or because of prior incident, if they have law enforcers there and Capitol Police, they were there. And literally almost like a daytime. How then this could have happened without anybody witnessing? The people on shift, were they sleeping? They left shift? What went wrong? They need to come and tell us. So first thing first, I expected maybe to hear from the IG, the commandant assigned at the Capitol when this incident took place, could be temporarily suspended and call for investigation to know, hey, what went wrong? Who was on duty? Who was not on duty? Anything happens on your watch, if you are a leader, you are held responsible. If there was no security there, then that's a different conversation. But with the presence of the security, considering what happens, and they told us that the place was sealed, that nobody want to be going in, nobody want to be going out, perhaps at a specific time, then who allowed who to enter when this incident occurred? There are a lot of questions, but it is unfortunate. There was a guy who was really pushing the IG, but our people, they don't like people they don't like to be questioned. They do not have that sort of temperament. So when people ask them questions that are not in favor of them to answer, they push you aside. And he was trying to drag this journalist. While the journalist asking this question, he didn't ask that question. What it was then we are talking about now. This is the issue that we are facing, and that's exactly that the journalist was pushing. But the Minister of Information was not giving him a chance to ask that question. Let people ask the questions and let the IG explain, let he provide answer. If you don't want to be asked questions, if you don't want to be asked, do not face the microphone. If you face the microphones, you've got to be asked. And if you are a public servant, then it's part of the criteria because you have to face the microphone, especially when they are in, where there's situations you need to provide that information. Other than that, people fill in those gaps with their own information place that they will pull from point Z to point X. But we hope there will be a comprehensive investigation, and it shouldn't be one of those endless investigations without anything. We don't even know the incident with Kofa House and many houses, and think, well, we tend to prioritize when it is within the bare will. But when an ordinary person houses, whatever happened to it, anything happened, we don't care because we don't value it, and that is not correct. We are all humans and we are all Liberians, and no one is above the law. Until people can start being very much defensive and defiant of these people that call their political Goliaths, who are not even in their interest. It's the same old thing over and over, remix, recycle politicians who are not doing everything, living from one party to party, grievous seeker opportunists who are now willing to make political sacrifice to have structured institutions in place. They're running here, this person come today, they leave this party, they go to this other party. They come, they sell some bar goods to us, bar leaders, and they come to the next date and they say, knowing what I know now. We know how governments, it's not only Liberia, international organizations. We listened to the interview when Samuel Doe was captured and killed. You listened to Dr. Abbas Bondo, who was then Secretary General of ECOWAS, when Reuben White had that interview. The next day, they came over damage control, and what did he say? It was a slip of tongue. So we know how government, these sort of ploy, these sort of tactics and stuff like that, to help to stabilize and create distraction. So for some of us, we have this sort of open mind when it comes to processing. We give it a critical thought and ask all of the questions necessary, whether it is upside down. But yes, we ask these open-ended questions that will allow you to provide the explanation. Until our leaders can give the opportunity to the journalists to ask, and for the journalists themselves, who are not, I'm not talking about the folks who are partisan. No. Who will ask these sort of open-ended questions that will result into explanations and will be followed up by another question. Not people to go and babysit questions. Babysit journalists. Don't ask the question. Don't say this. Don't say that. We have to pray for our country. What has happened is terrible. It's bad. It's ugly. It is not good for our country. It endangered our fragile democracy. And it's a shame. I visited his house here before. Always, not a single day if I made a trip in Liberia without going there, because like I said, my late brother worked at Capitol. Those days when you enter Capitol from the first floor to the up, red carpet. And most of all, importantly, I was privileged to sit in the office of the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, then, Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, in an extraordinary interview, which is historic to say with the sitting Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. That picture, that's her image. It was very historic. It was great. So I will not like to see anybody to destroy our treasure, and that's the Capitol buildings of the Republic of Liberia, which is the first branch of government. How the hell would this sort of things happen in such a modern, civilized society? Because we have politicians who lack the political will, who are unable to make deals, who lack the political tolerance. They do not listen to other people. They are defiant. When they say this, it must be. They do not want to have the other side of the story. They create the chaos. They are unable to manage the chaos, and this is what gets us to be where we are today. Until then, let Papa go. So I still remain resolute. Joseph Boyka, Samuel Koga, Fanatic Kofa. They are responsible to see what has happened. The big man in the room did not exercise his political power to stabilize the situation. So the origins of this capital saga, absolutely, it is these three gentlemen. Koga with the history of always creating this sort of political insurrection to Capitol Hill. That's not the first time. That's not the second time. He's going to the Senate. We have this sort of majority now, not even the two-thirds as required by the Constitution. So another group of people tomorrow, day after they put together to reach that number, they will not reach the required number. You can have your section, but that's not a perfect quorum. And then we ask the person to be removed. Then we'll come back. And when we go then to the Supreme Court to kind of interpret what, if it works yesterday, it has to work today. That's the kind of country, it's literally a banana republic. That's where we are heading. And people are taking it to be fun. Something happened today. They took our president, tried to prove a political point as strong people, assuming this is equivalent, we don't know yet, it's equivalent to that of a terror act. And they took the entire government of the republic, where you see the president, the vice president, the pro tem speaker, number one, speaker, number two, I don't know who, justice ministers, entire security apparatus, IG, all of those people, they make a cycle and sit there, a crime scene area, without them having a second thought as to wait a minute, is it the inner work or outside work, and who are these people? Then I even take into consideration whether explosive was left in that place as a booby trap to cause more damage. They sit there and they said they were conducting press conference. My goodness, what kind of country, what kind of people there? How can you possibly do that? You said broad daylight, fire into the first branch of government without us getting the comprehensive clue what happens, and then you allow the president to come. And you sit there, you're having a conference. You're having the meeting, sitting there for over 30, 45 minutes. God forbid. You have people outside that have come to destabilize our country because they know our stupidity when something, the only thing we run for rain. And then they are left explosive on the ground or whatever play it is, or stay within the distance and decide to cause any harm. What could possibly happen? That's what happens when there's a lack of leadership. If you don't have people who have a second thought, if you have people who do not have the guts to even look at their bosses and raise their fingers, yes, chief, this is a good thing, but let's give you a time. Let's give you a break. Let the security do their work. And after, make sure the entire place is locked down, see you out, and then you can go for inspection. But someone somewhere sitting down, beating their chest because they are Goliath and they want to prove a point. Forgetting to know your act is endangering many people. We tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear on this network. And this is why most of them, they don't like to come here. We will argue, we exchange, we respect the views of people. But all of us do have a shared responsibility to make sure that the motherland is protected. It is a disgrace. It is a disaster. The president of the Republic of Liberia did not exercise his presidential political will to resolve, and is part of what gets us here. If you can't manage crisis, then prevent it. Simple as it is. If you can manage, prevent it. Prevention is better than cure. What has happened is dangerous. It's a very long route we are on. That's not the end of it. The country is fragile. The country is fearful. Economically, it is not good in the eyes of our partners, our friends. Not because you have security, somebody opening your door. You don't know. You have a country that is literally in darkness. Current is being rotational, being shared. You don't know who's going to stay beyond all biddings and do whatever they can do. Nobody encourages violence. Violence is not something that you want to tolerate. When people are about to execute these things, they plan it and they do it. Nobody invited a war. People thought war was the solution to their problem, to seek their redress, because directly, indirectly, they felt their civil liberties were compromised or were not respected. So what did they do? They resorted into those actions. So for somebody to come to say it's not something that you're going to tolerate, people want to do bad, they do it. We saw the incident right here, the great United States, right here, New York, recently. The CEO for this multi-million insurance company, somebody traveled from way Atlanta, Georgia, got down, do what I do. Well, he's being incarcerated, but who is the victim? It's the family. So people reaction to things are varies. People process it differently. Whether you like it or not, we have to say, what's about a country where bloody civil war was fought? People were not properly demobilized. They were not integrated. There was no counseling, nothing. National government in the past, in the present, are not focusing on these things, how these people are going to be integrated, or how they're going to have a vocational institution that people with these people who are jacking people's phones, snatching people's bag, they will go ill because they don't have it. Is that a justification of their action? No, but they are left being vulnerable. So they resort into this criminal attitude. And it is the responsibility of government to rebuild the lives of its citizens. We're not going to have people to do it. Until then, folks, we want to leave it here. Take it or leave it. Let's pray for our country, for the good of all of us. If the country is doing well, we will be doing well. If the country is not doing well, the tension is on us. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening. By God's willing, I will be back here on Friday with the president of ULAT, Mr. Keita, and if all goes well, remain constant. Representative Josiah Mervyn Cole will be here with me on Sunday. Tentatively, that's the arrangement, but they are politicians. They too, you can rely on them. They are all breaking states. They can give any kind of excuse, but even at that, that's not going to deter or to have this sort of conversation we're having. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Resources for intelligence, and they gave us a mandate to protect life and property. So we gather intelligence. We don't have to be poor. If we're informed that Cholople or a grand citizen want to take his life, we will get there and make sure that Cholople, that Liberian citizen, do not take the life of that Liberian citizen. It is our mandate. That's what we're paid for. We operate on intelligence. We don't have to be poor. The thing is, everybody's saying, oh, you're not supposed to go in certain areas. Have you not thought about if the police just pulled back? Do we all want to just see chaos? Do you want to see this place become the Wild Wild West? Do you think we're happy that we get up every Tuesday, every Thursday, in some years to go and sit down at the Capitol just to keep the peace? No. I mean, we do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the honorable thing to do to maintain peace and order. Look, in this country, we have to understand that it's a normal thing for people to forget the cause and effect dynamics. As long as this capital was peaceful, did you ever see the police just go there to deploy? No. We have only gone there because of the escalation, the tension there. It's not like when we went there were a group of happy campers or people in Bible study that were disrupted Bible study. No. It was very routed, and we responded to it. We protected lives and property. That's what we did. And that's what we'll continue to do in this country. Look, the peace will prevail. This peace is very, very fragile, and we have to do everything we can to protect it. It's easy for you to interpret our actions as being political, based on nobody is actually based on the information. Unfortunately, so much disinformation and that builds the perspective of people that are actually I can guarantee I stand on the principles of democracy. I have never aligned myself with any political party. Never. If you check the history of any political party, you never found any political party serving of the state to oppose the
Thank you so much. So that's the Inspector General of the National Police, addressing the press following the heated protest at the branch of the capital. So my name is Tom James, Liberia Popular National Correspondent. I've been here bringing you this live press briefing. Thank you.
Okay, that's our man, James Tanakaba. Thank you for that report. By the way, from that protest, he felt a huge tear gas heavily, so he couldn't cover what happens today. He's our congressional correspondent, but at the protest, he was embedded to bring what was happening. But he's okay, he's doing well. Let's keep bringing. That was the IG in a press briefing following the protest yesterday, and all of a sudden, we all woke up this morning and another drama unfolded. Let's keep praying for our country. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening. The conversation will always be various. There will be different self-interpretation because each and every one is protecting their political Goliaths. Yet they are putting all of the defense line. Yeah, this is right, this is wrong. So we're going to wait and see what the investigation will bring out. But the key question here, there was security personnel to sign at the Capitol building. They will see following that incident. So where is this breach coming from? But the police director was very much definitive as to what potentially happens. And so we will wait and see what new development. There are other people being called as a potential persons or people of interest they're going to be talking to. Oh, we're going to wait and see. Initially, they say it was electrical fault. So who knows whether that's the same thing. There was an incident, one of our follower called us from New Jersey Estate, and there was a huge 2 days ago. These sort of funny Chinese wire and stuff. I mean, there are different things involved that are causing problem. We don't know for sure what happens to this. If any person did that on purpose, that is ridiculous, it is absurd, it is despicable, it's very difficult to comprehend why would they want to do that, all because of greed, power. Have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.